Picture this. You're one heated argument away from a divorce, and your wife suddenly unlocks the ability to hear your inner thoughts. On the outside, you play the ultimate submissive husband, respectfully nodding along to her every word. But inside? It's a completely different show. A divorce? Hell yes. I've been dying to shake you off. You walking red flag. Once this paperwork clears, I'm heading straight back to my hometown, hiring 5 or 6 young maids to wait on me hand and foot, and grabbing a massive bucket of popcorn to watch the Dragon King tear you to shreds. But the second your CEO wife tunes into your true thoughts, she instantly scraps the divorce plan. Why? Because your wife, Seraphina, suddenly realizes that her best friend, her personal secretary, and even her own aunt have their IDs ready, eyeing you like a premium cut of Wagyu beef. They are literally foaming at the mouth, waiting for you to hit the singles market so they can drag you straight to the registry office. So, just to beg you to stay by her side, Seraphina is suddenly willing to hand over her $100 billion fortune. She's even ready to wear black pantyhose every single day just to shower you with hugs and kisses. But you would rather chew glass. You are racking your brain for any loophole to get those divorce papers signed. Why? Because you transmigrated into a cheesy Dragon King's pampered wife novel. Sure, your current wife is young, absolutely drop-dead gorgeous, and wealthy enough to feed you for several lifetimes over. But she is the villainess of the story, and not just your run-of-the-mill bad guy. She is a villainess destined for a one-way ticket to a concrete cell. You need to divorce her, and fast. You remember the book's plot perfectly. Today is the exact day Seraphina comes home to drop the divorce bomb, and the only real headache right now is dividing the assets. Because when you and Seraphina tied the knot, neither of you bothered with a prenuptial agreement. Money, huh? Let's dig into that. You recall the lore. The Vanguard Consortium started in real estate. 3 years ago, thanks to her dad's terrible management, the company got slapped by government regulators. Their capital chain shattered, and the stock price absolutely tanked overnight. Desperate, Seraphina went running to her childhood sweetheart, her perfect white moonlight fiancé, Alaric, praying he could drag the Vanguard Group out of the gutter. According to their marriage pact, an asset restructuring would happen the second they got engaged. But Alaric? He completely ghosted her. He fled abroad, making front-page news, and the company's stock nosedived yet again. In full panic mode, Seraphina, an art major with zero business sense, tracked down Caelan, her biggest college simp of 4 years, to marry her instead. It was a pure PR stunt, a desperate attempt to manufacture good news and salvage the dying market. Knowing the Vanguard Group was on life support and terrified Caelan might try to steal their remaining scraps, her family didn't even waste time drafting a prenup. Snapping out of these memories, you sit there muttering to yourself, the only tricky part left is dividing the assets. As long as Seraphina doesn't touch my personal stash, I'll take whatever deal she offers. Right on cue, the front door clicks open. I'm home, a beautifully exhausted voice echoes through the hall. You push open your door and step into the living room. There she is at the entrance, a stunning, long-legged boss lady in a black tailored suit and gold-rimmed glasses, slipping off her heels. Welcome home, you say, perfectly mimicking the original owner's pathetic, gentle simp smile. Seraphina looks up, a subtle ripple of emotion flashing across her eyes. She gives a quiet nod, doesn't say much, and slumps onto the living room sofa. You bring over a steaming bowl of blood-nourishing jujube and goji berry soup, the ultimate simp brew, and set it down in front of her. It's your time of the month today, so skip the coffee. Drink this soup first, to get your energy back. I'll go start dinner, we'll eat in 30 minutes. Just as you turn to leave, Seraphina's red lips part slightly. Wait a minute, boom. A spark of pure excitement lights up your eyes, but you fake a totally confused look. What's wrong? Is it happening? Is she finally bringing up the divorce? Seraphina pauses, momentarily stunned. Why does Caelan sound so weird today? His sweet words and facial expressions are totally out of sync, but she brushes it aside. It's not a big deal anyway. She pats the sofa beside her, gesturing for you to take a seat, staring at your handsome, chiseled face, which gives off a warm, sunny vibe so completely different from Alaric's. She speaks softly. Alaric is back in the country. Today, the Sterling family reached out to me, hoping to renew our old marriage pact. So, let's get a divorce. You've worked really hard these past 2 years. As compensation, I can give you this house and an extra $100 million in cash. How does that sound? A heavy flash of guilt crosses Seraphina's eyes. Deep down, she feels she truly owes you big time. If she hadn't dragged Caelan into a sham marriage back then, the current Caelan would probably be pursuing his doctorate right now, maybe even studying overseas. By all rights, to repay his massive sacrifice, Seraphina should take care of him for the rest of his life, making sure he never has to worry about food or clothes ever again. But Alaric is back, and Alaric finally explained exactly why he vanished 2 years ago. It wasn't intentional, he claimed. He's using this as a trade, getting the Sterling family to step in and resolve the government crackdown on her company. So, her guilt means she's going to pay me off as heavily as possible. Oh, hell yes, that is absolutely brilliant. I have literally been waiting for you to say that. You are practically doing backflips in your head right now. But on the surface, you show absolutely nothing, making sure Seraphina doesn't suspect a single thing. Your eyes instantly brim with tears, putting on the performance of a lifetime as her ultimate, loyal golden retriever. Seraphina, please don't leave me. I won't survive without you. If you walk away now, who is going to wash your clothes and cook your meals? Who is going to prep all your daily necessities? Who will clean your room, run your hot bath water, and give you your foot massages? Ah, that sounded so gross. What a massive simp. You are internally cringing hard at your own words. Meanwhile, Seraphina looks completely dumbfounded. Did she just hear a celebratory cheer? She didn't see your expression break character or show any excitement at all. She brushes it off, figuring she must have just misheard. After all, you are clearly still acting like the desperate, pathetic simp who just cannot live without her. So, Seraphina decides to test the waters. She speaks in a cold, totally detached voice. I can hire a maid to cook. High-end brands can deliver my daily necessities on a schedule. I can easily hire a professional masseuse for my feet. You are not irreplaceable, Caelan. So, let's get a divorce. After all, in our 2 years of marriage, you have brought absolutely nothing to the table. Waves of deep disappointment flash right through Seraphina's eyes. In 2 whole years, aside from milking the Vanguard Group's connections just to open some small processing factory, you haven't built any real career for yourself. You just spin around the pots and pans at home all day like a glorified house husband. You have zero ambition, completely unlike a real man. Alaric beats you by 8 miles in this regard. As soon as he returned from overseas, he founded a massive media company, and right after taking over his family's business, he snagged 4 or 5 huge government projects in a single breath. You pretend to sigh in deep, heartbroken disappointment. If that really is the case, Boss Seraphina, please take good care of yourself. Seraphina, you really are a giant, toxic red flag. What the hell do you mean I brought nothing to the table? When you first took over the Vanguard Group, the stock was completely crashing. Did you conveniently forget who liquidated all his personal assets to help you buy up retail shares and stabilize the entire market? This time, Seraphina is absolutely certain she heard it loud and clear. She had been staring right at your face, and she is dead positive your mouth didn't move an inch. So, what she is actually hearing is your inner voice. At this exact moment, Seraphina's entire worldview slightly shatters. She stares at you, giving you an incredibly complicated look. I truly wish you happiness in the future, boss. I'll go make dinner for us now. Happiness? Ha! With your toxic red flag energy, you will never find true happiness in this lifetime. Alaric doesn't even actually like you. The only reason he likes Briar is definitely because he saw right through your absolute trashy nature. Man, I really feel awful for the original Caelan. That guy was genuinely brilliant. Back in college, he invested in a dating app developed by his childhood friend and pulled in hundreds of millions in dividends. And after marrying you, just to help boost Vanguard's stock, he threw every last penny of it into the market. Sure, it's highly profitable now. But back then, Vanguard was on the literal verge of collapsing and being entirely delisted. Do you have any idea how much courage that took? And all he gets in return is a cold. You brought absolutely nothing to the table. It is actually hilarious. If it weren't for needing to secure a perfectly smooth divorce tomorrow, I would dump your toxic self right here, right now. Seriously, who wants to entertain a walking, talking disaster like you? Seraphina's wide eyes are practically glued to your back. Just a second ago, she heard you brutally roasting her as a toxic red flag in your mind, and claiming that Alaric actually likes Briar. She knows Briar. She's the boss of a newly rising beauty company in Sapphire City, and she is quite famous. In fact, just today, she and Briar were even jointly named among the top 10 conscientious entrepreneurs of Sapphire City. However, Seraphina doesn't recall Alaric ever knowing Briar before he went abroad. As Alaric's childhood friend, she knows his romantic history extremely well. Caelan must just love me way too much, so he is letting his jealous imagination run wild, unable to bear the thought of seeing me happy. I will call the lawyer later and give him a bit more money. He has really worked hard for me. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, you have completely sorted out your mood and are happily stir-frying up the evening dishes. Tomorrow, the second this divorce is officially finalized, my ties with Seraphina will be cut completely forever. Then, I will sell the factory under my name, take all that sweet cash straight back to my hometown, and I will hire beautiful maids to pamper me in shifts. Everything is lining up perfectly. I am just waiting to sign tomorrow's paperwork. Later, after Seraphina finishes her bath, you dutifully massage her feet for 30 solid minutes. Today's exhausting work is officially over, but as you head for the door, you just can't help but steal one extra glance at her stunning figure. You sigh internally. Man, I think I finally understand the original Caelan's ridiculous simp-level love for her. If it weren't for the impending threat of a brutal death, with a gorgeous figure like that, I would stay, too. What is a daily 30-minute foot rub anyway? I would happily be smothered by those incredible assets. From the bed, Seraphina quietly watches your seemingly reluctant departure. Hearing your thirsty inner voice, she feels a sudden, sweet buzz in her heart. Oh, he loves me so much. He is actually willing to die for my assets. Maybe I really should tell the lawyer to give him even more money in the settlement. Night falls over the mansion, but Seraphina tosses and turns in her bed, completely unable to sleep. Just as she finally closes her eyes, the very first thought she heard from you unexpectedly flashes into her mind. That is absolutely brilliant. I have literally been waiting for you to say that. That single sentence meant Caelan had been eagerly waiting for her to demand a divorce. Staring blankly up at her starry ceiling, the more Seraphina turns it over in her head, the crazier it feels. Caelan absolutely worships her. He loves her to the point of pure obsession. He even cursed her out of bitter jealousy when the divorce was brought up. Counting the fake, glowing stars above her, a sudden, sharp thought hits her like a freight train. Could there be a homewrecker trying to steal her husband? Maybe Caelan actually wants to experience a real romance with someone else. The more she stews on it, the more horrifyingly plausible it seems. Seraphina frantically dials her best friend's number. On the other end of the line, Elara, who had just finished a grueling day on set and had completely collapsed into bed, is jolted awake by her buzzing phone. Seeing Seraphina's name flashing on the screen, Elara forces her heavy eyes open to answer. Sarah, what's going on? Elara, I think Caelan is cheating on me. Elara's eyes snap wide open, instantly awake. She swallows hard, reaches under her pillow to pull out a secret second phone, and clicks it open. She stares dead at the chat history on her burner account with Caelan. It is completely filled with pictures of her in sheer black tights, thigh highs, and incredibly spicy lingerie. The latest photo, sent just hours ago, is right from today's set. She is dressed as a fiercely seductive corporate secretary, rocking black nylons, big bouncy waves, and bright cherry red lips, topped off with killer high heels. Maximum temptation. Oh God. Does Seraphina know I've been actively trying to steal her man? Choking down her rising panic, Elara whispers with total fake innocence, Sarah, how could Caelan ever cheat? He is literally the least likely man on the planet to step out on you, and Elara is extremely confident about this fact. She has been aggressively trying to seduce him for a solid year and a half, and the man hasn't even looked her way. He doesn't even bother leaving her burner account messages on read. Seraphina lets out a heavy sigh. I don't know for sure if he actually cheated. You've got to help me figure this out. Elara lets out a massive, silent sigh of relief. Thank God. She has no clue. Seraphina continues. Alaric is back in town. The Sterling family wants us to patch things up. They want me to drop Caelan and remarry Alaric. So, today, I finally brought it up to Caelan, and he actually told me he was waiting for me to say it. Do you think some trashy side piece is trying to steal him away from me? Caelan might have been tempted, but felt too guilty to ask for a divorce because he wanted to keep his nice guy image. So he deliberately waited for me to be the bad guy and speak up first. After dropping this massive bombshell, Seraphina suddenly realizes it is dead quiet on the other end. Elara? Why aren't you saying anything? Did something happen? Meanwhile, absolute, wild joy is practically exploding in Elara's eyes. My beautiful bestie. You are finally letting that gorgeous man go. Elara happily autofills the rest of Seraphina's wild theory in her head because she is the exact homewrecker in question, and she firmly believes she is the only woman on earth shameless enough to do it. After all, Nobody else could shamelessly send daily, scorching hot photos to a married man, especially when that man is her own best friend's husband. So, Elara smugly deduces that Caelan has finally been worn down by her sheer, relentless persistence. Gulping hard, Elara violently suppresses her giddy excitement. So, Sarah, when exactly are you two planning to finalize the paperwork? Seraphina sighs again, frustrated. Elara, first, tell me if you honestly think some skank is stealing my man. After a microscopic, 2-second struggle between true love and basic friendship, Elara answers with absolute conviction. Sarah, look at a guy like Caelan. He has had the total backing of the Vanguard group for 2.5 years, yet he only manages some tiny, pathetic microchip factory. The guy has zero ambition. He's a completely useless house husband who only cares about buying groceries and doing your laundry. If he is actually cheating, you have to cut him loose immediately. Seriously, tell me, what exact day are you divorcing? I will literally fly down to cheer you on. Seraphina is completely caught off guard by this bizarre, intense enthusiasm. Elara, aren't best friends supposed to try and help couples work things out, not eagerly push them to break up? Elara's voice, packed with perfectly faked, dramatic heartbreak, rings out through the speaker. Sarah, wake up. A cheating man is absolute garbage, unless he's cheating with me. If you don't want him, I will, I mean. What the hell are you hesitating for, sister? Seraphina stares at the ceiling, slowly sits up in bed, and lets out a bitter sigh. I'm just feeling so bitter right now. How could he possibly make a fool out of me and stab me in the back like that? Elara lets out a wicked, internal sneer. Why the hell shouldn't he? You haven't even let the poor guy touch you in 2.5 years, and you're a totally toxic wife who is still blindly pining for her precious first love. Taking a deep, calming breath, Elara speaks out loud again. Sister, you really need to listen to my advice. Divorce him right now. Let's stop this exhausting mental drain once and for all. Just tell me, when is the divorce? I'm coming down to support you. Seraphina mutters softly. Tomorrow. It's way too short notice. You probably can't make it. Elara's eyes bulge out of her head, and she leaps right out of her bed like she's on fire. Sister, do not even worry about it. I will absolutely be there. I am literally booking a flight right this second. Slamming the phone down, Elara immediately shoots a text to her film director. Shoot literally everyone else's scenes first. I have a massive family emergency. Next, Elara furiously texts her ridiculously wealthy mother. Through your brilliant daughter's relentless, behind-the-scenes efforts, Seraphina is finally divorcing. Caelan, get our family registry book ready right now. I am flying back right now. If she signs those papers in the morning, I am officially marrying him in the afternoon. Her mother's instant reply? Good, 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 good. My darling daughter is finally being useful for once. Hurry up and bring that handsome Caelan home to me right away. Meanwhile, back at the company, Tessa, the poor employee in charge of actually drafting up this messy divorce agreement, has just finished a brutal shift of overtime. Stumbling out of the quiet office, she suddenly bumps right into a stunningly voluptuous woman in a sharp, white tailored suit, holding a mysterious folder just a few steps away. Secretary Kaelia, you're still here? Oh, I just left something at the office, popped back in to grab it. Did you finish drafting that divorce agreement CEO Seraphina asked for? Tessa nods, looking absolutely pained. Yeah, just need Boss Seraphina and Boss Caden to sign it. Secretary Kaelia gives a stiff nod. Excellent, Kaelia thinks, a sly smirk creeping onto her face. My 2 years of playing the devoted, undercover secretary haven't been for nothing. She had spent months relentlessly brainwashing Seraphina, whispering poison into her ear about how Caden was a total loser with zero ambition, just running some rinky-dink factory. Her master plan? Dash home tonight, grab her ID and paperwork, and tag along with Seraphina to the civil registry office first thing in the morning. The second that divorce paper gets stamped, she is going to drag Caden straight over to the marriage counter. Knowing how hopelessly in love Caden is with Seraphina, he'll be completely heartbroken and dazed. That's when she'll strike swooping in to catch him while he's perfectly vulnerable. Secretary Kaelia is dead set on the idea that her gentle, sweet, and comforting act will completely win Caden over. And just like that, everything Seraphina ever had will be hers. Meanwhile, back in bed, Seraphina is drifting off when a sudden, icy chill snaps her awake. She shivers, feeling like a venomous snake is watching her from the dark. In her nightmare, she saw exactly what happened after she divorced Caden. He instantly became the most eligible, sought-after billionaire in the city. First, his little microchip factory had an earth-shattering breakthrough, pumping out cutting-edge 3-nanometer chips. In an era where foreign countries were totally blocking chip tech, he single-handedly monopolized the entire domestic market. And then, her own best friend, her secretary, her aunt, and a literal army of gorgeous women she didn't even know just started swarming him. They were practically tripping over themselves, begging to be with him. Seraphina jolts upright in bed, wiping a thick layer of cold sweat off her forehead. She lets out a massive, shaky exhale. Thank God. It was just a dream. But then, Alaric's voice starts echoing in her head, pushing her to end the marriage. And then she thinks about her secretary, Kaelia, who spent the entire last month whispering, "Caelan is so lazy, but Alaric. Alaric works so hard." And finally, she suddenly remembers hearing Caelan's true inner thoughts. "I've been waiting for you to say that." A crushing, sickening wave of realization hits her. She's being played. She aggressively grabs her phone. 3:30 in the morning, but her heart is pounding so hard, there is absolutely no way she's going back to sleep. The next morning, you take one look at the heavy, dark bags under Seraphina's eyes, shake your head, and pull out some concealer to do her makeup yourself. Watching you so carefully and gently do her makeup in the mirror, a sharp, bitter pang of regret hits Seraphina for ever demanding this divorce. Sure, he lacks ambition, but aside from that, Caelan is honestly an amazing husband. At least his love is real. Biting her lip, Seraphina finally breaks the silence. "Caelan, if you just promise me you'll actually start trying and work hard. I really don't care that much about the marriage pact with the Sterling family." Her eyes are wide and heartbreakingly sincere. Your hand instantly freezes midair. Inside your head, you are absolutely screaming, "No! No! 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 I want a divorce! I seriously need this divorce right now. If you don't divorce me, how am I supposed to go out and enjoy my billionaire life with gorgeous, young women?" But on the outside, after that one tiny flinch, you smoothly go back to blending her concealer. You let out a soft, self-deprecating sigh. "Sarah, I'm just a normal guy. I don't have any big talents. I'm so sorry for disappointing you." In that exact second, Seraphina's eyes erupt into pure, unadulterated fury. "You absolute bastard. You really are cheating on me." Oops. Your loud inner thoughts totally gave you away again. "Fine then. Let's get the divorce," she snaps, her voice turning ice cold. "Save your breath. We are leaving, right now." Downstairs in the lobby, Secretary Kaelia and Tessa are already waiting. The second Seraphina storms out of the elevator, Tessa nervously holds out the paperwork. "Boss Seraphina, Boss Caelan. The agreement has been updated. It just needs your signatures." Seraphina lets out a bitter scoff, dramatically grabs the pen, slashes her name across the paper, and marches straight to the car. You eagerly snatch the document, barely even look at it, scribble down your signature, and happily jump into the passenger seat. Glaring from the back seat, Seraphina watches you sign it like you just won the lottery, and her blood boils all over again. "What?" she mocks bitterly. "In a rush to go meet your little side chick?" You just frown and completely ignore her. The divorce is basically in the bag. You literally cannot be bothered to put on an act for her anymore. Standing beside the car, Secretary Kaelia gently takes the signed agreement, her eyes absolutely sparkling with twisted joy. Perfect. The luxury sedan pulls out, heading straight for the civil registry office. The vibe inside the car is suffocatingly awkward. Nobody breathes a single word. Suddenly, Seraphina blinks, realizing something is off. She looks up at Kaelia in confusion. "Wait, why are you driving us today?" Kaelia, riding the ultimate high, meets her eyes in the rearview mirror and lies flawlessly. "Oh, the usual driver had to go pick up his sick kid. I'm just filling in." Seraphina nods, too stressed to care. Pulling up to the registry office, you step out of the car and immediately lock eyes with two very familiar figures. "What the hell?" you think to yourself. "Why are Alaric and Elara here?" Standing right by the front doors are a sharply dressed man and a gorgeous woman. Yep, Alaric and Elara. Seraphina steps out, spots them, and looks equally bewildered. "Guys, what are you doing here?" Elara shoots you a deeply smug, triumphant glare, then marches right up to Seraphina, acting totally outraged. "I was so worried this jerk would try to bully you during the divorce. I had to come be your moral support." Seraphina melts, pulling Elara into a tight, grateful hug. "You really are my best friend." Alaric steps up, flashing a soft, painfully gentle smile. And I'm here to support you, too, Sarah. Off to the side, a dark, terrifying flash of pure murderous intent cuts across Secretary Kaelia's eyes. Watching this charade, you practically roll your eyes into the back of your skull. Support her? Yeah, right. Aren't you completely obsessed with Briar? You would literally throw Seraphina behind bars just so Briar could snatch up the family fortune. Right as she opens her mouth to answer Alaric, Seraphina's entire body jolts. Pure disbelief flashes in her eyes. What? Sarah, are you feeling okay? Elara asks softly, giving her a gentle squeeze. She can feel Seraphina go totally rigid. Alaric quickly chimes in, his voice dripping with fake concern. Sarah, are you feeling unwell? Seraphina catches her breath, shooting Alaric a deep, piercing glare that could cut through glass. She knows Caelan wouldn't lie in the privacy of his own mind, but she honestly can't fathom how Alaric and Briar could even know each other. They are worlds apart in social standing, and she firmly believes her father would never cheat. Right now, Seraphina is tearing her hair out trying to make sense of it all. Tessa squints up at the blazing sun, feeling absolutely miserable. Can we please stop stalling? Letting out a heavy sigh, Tessa takes the plunge. Boss Seraphina, should I go grab a queue number for you? Hearing this, Seraphina's eyes light up. She finally has her excuse. A number? What number? Seraphina snatches the divorce papers right out of Kaelia's arms, shoves them hard into Tessa's chest, and completely blows up. Look at this garbage agreement you drafted. It only outlines Caelan splitting my assets. Where are his assets? Tessa's eyes go wide as saucers. What on earth is happening? Why am I suddenly the bad guy here? When you told me to draft it yesterday, you definitely didn't say that. You literally said Caelan was broke, and that we didn't need to bother calculating his share. A boss's mind is truly a deep, terrifying ocean. Tessa puts on a bitter smile and swallows the blame. Sorry, boss. Totally my mistake. Then, what about today? Seraphina grabs Elara and storms back toward the car, grumbling loudly. This agreement isn't even clear. How can we possibly get divorced like this? We will talk about it another day. This massive plot twist catches literally everyone off guard. Elara clings desperately to Seraphina's arm. Sister, you cannot do this. Disappointment flashes in Kaelia's eyes, while you start to internally panic. Sarah, I don't have any assets. You are worth tens of billions. Why on earth do you care about my little bit of pocket change? You stingy woman. A flash of pure annoyance crosses Seraphina's face, and she can't help but snap back. Caelan, you might not have much, but that money is our joint marital property. How can I possibly let you take my money to go sugar daddy some other women? Elara and Kaelia both instinctively tense up. Standing nearby, Alaric puts on his softest, most gentle voice. Sarah, since Caelan has already cheated, just divorce him and save yourself the headache. Whatever spare change he has, I will personally make up for it from the resettlement housing project. Alaric's smooth words make the passers-by marvel at his saintly generosity. He then turns his gaze toward Caelan. Mr. Caelan, how could you cheat? Sarah is such a wonderful person. You mentally roll your eyes so hard it hurts. Keep playing the saint in front of me. I double dare you. Just wait until you try to trap Seraphina with that shady resettlement housing project. Watch me detonate that little landmine and leave you looking like an absolute clown. Seraphina's heart violently skips a beat. Unbelievable shock flashes in her eyes. There is a trap in the housing project? Oh, right. After divorcing Seraphina, should I just casually expose the fact that Briar is the old CEO's illegitimate daughter and Alaric's precious first love? If I remember correctly, the Sterling family's private hospital has the DNA test records between Briar and the old CEO. I just need to pull a few strings to dig them up. An absolute tidal wave crashes through Seraphina's mind. Briar is Alaric's secret first love? The Sterling family's private hospital has the DNA test records. Good. Very good. In a split second, Seraphina completely throws all her previous assumptions out the window. She needs to see the cold, hard facts. Seraphina shoots Alaric a deeply profound look. No need. I just cannot swallow this kind of disrespect. She then shoots Caelan another intensely calculating look. Seraphina asks Elara for her car keys and immediately tosses them over to Caelan. You drive Elara's car. We will discuss the divorce another day. I have far more important things to handle right now. After dropping that bomb, Seraphina orders Kaelia to step on the gas immediately. With her swift and decisive exit, only Caelan and Alaric are left standing in the dust, completely and utterly bewildered. What the heck just happened? Inside the car, Elara can't hold back anymore. Sarah, you really don't seem like the type to care about Caelan's tiny assets. Kaelia, gripping the steering wheel, also glances at Seraphina through the rearview mirror in pure confusion. She is dying to know, too. Seraphina has never given a single damn about pennies before. Seraphina's face is dead serious. I just do not want some other woman spending our marital funds. Suddenly, she remembers the suspicious social media posts she scrolled past early this morning. Her sixth sense instantly blares a warning siren. She narrows her eyes at Elara. Elara, why are you so overly invested in my divorce? Alara's heart skips a beat. She lets out a painfully awkward laugh. I just want you to find true love, that's all. Yeah, right. More like, I just want a taste of Caelan's fine assets. Elara lets out a heavy, internal sigh. Her golden opportunity finally came, and now it has vanished into thin air. She can already imagine going home tonight and getting totally chewed out by her mother, a 43-year-old gorgeous MILF who just so happens to be highly obsessed with Caelan, too. From the front seat, Secretary Kaelia chimes in with picture-perfect timing. Exactly. Boss Seraphina, Boss Caelan, really does not have much money to his name. There is absolutely no need to waste your precious time on him. With that kind of fiery energy, you could easily earn back Caelan's entire net worth a few times over. Seraphina just shakes her head, her voice dropping soft and heavy. You guys, you just don't get it. Beside her, Secretary Kaelia lets out a long, defeated sigh. That household register sitting in her bag? Yeah, it's completely useless now. A heavy silence instantly crashes over the room. Seraphina's sharp gaze snaps over to Elara. Elara, if I remember correctly, your family still holds a decent chunk of shares in the Sterling family's private hospital, right? Elara gives a hesitant nod. Yeah, we do, but it's honestly not a lot, Secretary Kaelia. Seraphina doesn't miss a single beat. Get ready. We are heading to the Sterling private hospital right now. Elara, I need you to pull some strings. Use your shareholder status to pull a completely unedited DNA test record for me. Seraphina is totally done playing these messy, behind-the-scenes games. She just wants to kick the front door down and grab the cold, hard evidence. Because if she can just prove that Caelan's inner voice is 100% accurate, ripping apart all these little schemes later? Oh, that will be an absolute piece of cake. Seriously, what Dragon King? What pampered, naive wife? What deadly traps hidden in the housing project? She is absolutely confident she can smash through every single one of them. After all, she is the damn queen who single-handedly dragged the Vanguard group back from the brink of total destruction in just 2.5 years. She can face down literally anything. Meanwhile, completely clueless about Seraphina's upcoming warpath, Caelan and Alaric are literally just squatting by the side of the road, having a smoke. Alaric casually offers out a cigarette. Caelan, looking completely dead inside, just takes it. Honestly, if you didn't know the absolute mess between them, you would think these two were straight-up best friends. Caelan, man, you have really worked yourself to the bone these past 2 years. Alaric starts, trying to play it smooth. Caelan, with the cigarette hanging lazily from his lips, lets out this deeply dramatic, melancholy sigh. Yeah, you're telling me. It has been brutal. My back is absolutely killing me. Seraphina's physical demands are just way too intense. Now, Caelan has zero clue why Alaric is suddenly playing the nice guy with a free smoke, but he decides to twist the knife right into Alaric's ego anyway. You can literally see Alaric's entire body lock up in pure shock. He dated Seraphina for 4 whole years back in college, and the absolute most they ever did was hold freaking hands. She wouldn't even let him lean in for a single kiss until they were actually married. And now Caelan has the nerve to say his back hurts from her? Alaric is practically boiling over with rage, especially when his mind flashes to Seraphina's gorgeous curves and perfectly sexy lips. Oh, he is beyond furious now. Barely holding back his absolute disgust, Alaric leans in and hisses, "As long as you pack up and leave Sarah right now. Just name your damn price." Caelan's eyes instantly light up like fireworks. Hey, making a quick buck before I make my grand escape? That is totally justified in my book. Let's just call it collecting some well-deserved interest for the original owner of this body. Mr. Alaric, since you are so generously offering, I am definitely not going to hold back. Just hand over 1 billion, and I will walk away from Boss Seraphina forever. Alaric actually lets out a dark chuckle. Is that seriously all this pathetic guy's ambition amounts to? He honestly can't even hold back his mocking tone. Wow, I really thought you would hold out for a massive corporate project. projects at our elite level. Just snagging one of those could easily rake in hundreds of millions for you. Catching the obvious sneer in his voice, Caelan immediately fires back. Corporate projects? Yeah, right. I'm terrified they're completely booby-trapped, and you'll just send my ass straight to federal prison. Alaric's heart takes a sudden, nervous plunge. So, just wire the cold, hard cash right into my account, and I will vanish into thin air immediately. No stupid delays. Caelan finishes smoothly. Suddenly, a cheesy ringtone blasting, "The Night I Miss You" fills the air. Alaric snatches up his phone. Young Master Alaric, we have incredibly bad news. Boss Seraphina and young boss Elara just stormed into the hospital. They are demanding to pull the actual DNA test records of Boss Breyer and the old CEO. The sheer panic in the caller's voice makes Alaric's head spin out of control. What the hell is happening right now? Beside him, Caden is looking just as wildly confused. Wait, what? Seraphina actually went to pull the DNA test? That was definitely not supposed to happen in the original book. Do not give it to her. Alaric screams into the phone in absolute, unfiltered panic. That is a massive, life-destroying secret that has been buried for over a decade. It absolutely cannot leak out to the public. You don't want me to know what exactly, Brother Alaric? Seraphina's bone-chilling, icy voice suddenly echoes straight through the phone speaker. Well, I guess you went ahead and completely betrayed me again. Just you wait and see. Beep. The call abruptly clicks dead. Alaric just stands there, completely frozen in sheer terrifying shock. Right next to him, Caden is still totally bewildered. Seriously, what on earth is going on? The original novel literally did not have this insane plotline in it at all. Alaric slowly turns and glares viciously at Caden, his eyes full of venom. Oh, good. Very good. You and Seraphina really put on one hell of a show, didn't you? Caden just stares back, hopelessly lost. Are you a total psycho? Why the hell are you screaming at me? Seeing Caden desperately playing dumb, Alaric just lets out a cruel sneer. Oh, drop the pathetic act. Wasn't this whole little setup just you and Seraphina's master plan? Lure me out here, stall me with garbage talk, all while she went straight for those DNA records? Fine, you win this round. Caden just tilts his head, throwing his hands up with a massive "I genuinely have zero clue what you are talking about" expression. Alaric, completely consumed by his own blind rage, violently storms off down the street. Caden shakes his head, his internal walls slamming right up. The entire plot has radically shifted. It is now completely, dangerously different from the original book. I need to figure out a bulletproof way to run away, and I need to do it fast. The further away I can get from this totally cursed place, the absolute better. Meanwhile, back at the Sterling Private Hospital's DNA testing center, Seraphina is staring grimly at the freshly printed, damning report in her hands. The hospital director, the vice director, and a whole cluster of terrified staff are standing off to the side, literally trembling in fear. Elara's eyes are blown wide in absolute, horrifying shock. The most famous, supposedly loving husband in the entire business circle had actually been cheating this whole time. And the most sickening part? The illegitimate daughter is the exact same age as his actual, legitimate daughter. Taking a long, shaky breath, Seraphina forcibly swallows down her explosive fury. She turns and coldly instructs Secretary Kaelia, have someone completely scrub down the villa over at the Holy Spirit estate. Tell Uncle Lee to personally grab a trusted team and inspect every single inch of it. Then, I want every single car registered under my name, thoroughly checked, and I mean check them every single day. Forcing down her own overwhelming shock, Kaelia gives a stiff, sharp nod. Understood, boss. It was happening all over again. The universally recognized, perfectly loyal man who would supposedly never ever cheat, had actually cheated. Something in this world was just terribly, terribly wrong. Walking straight out of the hospital and sliding into the back seat of the car, Alaric quietly mutters, Sarah, isn't that a little bit of a crazy overreaction? Suddenly, a ruthless, incredibly dark gleam flashes deep inside Seraphina's eyes. Why in the world wouldn't I overreact? The Vanguard Group is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. Whoever lands this deal instantly becomes a nationally renowned tycoon. Seriously, just knocking out a few casual projects rakes in more cash than an average person could make in dozens of lifetimes. And for that kind of insane wealth, people are capable of absolutely anything. Alaric wisely snaps his mouth shut. It makes perfect sense. Secretary Kaelia leans in and asks softly, Boss, Where to now? Seraphina's cold eyes flicker with hidden calculations. Slowly, she replies, the company. We wait for our guests to arrive. Meanwhile, the moment Alaric slips back into his car, he frantically dials Father Orion Ye's number. Uncle, we are totally exposed. Seraphina already knows everything about your hidden relationship with Briar. Back at the Ye family's ancient manor, the middle-aged, but still fiercely handsome Father Orion feels his stomach drop to the floor. He absolutely roars. Who leaked it? Alaric replies gloomily, I don't know, man. Today I got completely played by Seraphina and that loser, Caelan. With a heavy sigh, Alaric slowly breaks down the day's total disaster. Orion sighs in defeat. Nothing we can do about it now. Just proceed with the original plan. We will see if she is actually willing to take the bait on the resettlement project. If that girl still wants to make money, that is our golden chance. If not, we will just have to hunt for another opening. Alaric nods firmly and hangs up the phone. Next, he dials Briar's number. Briar, dressed in a pristine white dress and looking as pure as an unblemished lotus flower, is busy inspecting her own factory. Seeing his caller ID flash on the screen, she pauses. With a flick of her wrist, she waves her subordinates out of the room before finally answering. In a sickeningly sweet, delicate voice, she purrs, Brother Alaric, what puts you in the mood to call little old me today? Hearing that soft, sticky sweet voice instantly melts Alaric's cold heart. But he does not let himself forget his crucial mission. He quickly explains that Seraphina knows all about her secret blood tie to Orion. Briar just giggles softly. So what if my big sister knows? At most, it just humiliates my cheap dad. Vanguard Group does real estate, and I do beauty products. We literally never cross paths. She has zero power to suppress me. Alaric nods in agreement. True, it is just that your path to inheriting the massive Ye family fortune might hit a nasty snag. Briar laughs playfully. Brother Alaric, even if we put you aside for a second, just look at the new laws giving illegitimate children equal inheritance rights. Even if everything goes horribly wrong, I can still easily take half the Ye family fortune. Seraphina is nothing but a glorified wage slave. Alaric laughs out loud. Well said. As expected of my Briar, always so incredibly clever. And all taught by your big brother Alaric. After hanging up the call, Alaric steps on the gas and drives straight toward the Vanguard Group headquarters. Back at the Ye family manor, right after hanging up, Orion's face turns incredibly dark. He is in an absolutely terrible mood. Then, he grits his teeth, a vicious, murderous light flashing in his eyes. Sarah, you forced your father's hand. Meanwhile, right after Alaric leaves the scene, our boy Caelan takes the wheel of Elara's car. The moment he hops in, he immediately spots a household register book sitting right on the passenger seat. Wait, is this crazy girl planning to get married today or something? Caelan cannot help but bust out laughing. Seraphina is really racking up some serious bad karma, dragging this poor girl away and making her miss a potential shotgun wedding. Honestly, the more he thinks about it, the funnier the whole ridiculous situation gets. But suddenly, a hidden memory from the body's original owner violently surfaces. A year and a half ago, Elara actually tried to seduce him, eventually leading to them secretly adding each other on a burner social media account. Caelan's face instantly turns a sickly shade of green. What the hell? Another wild plotline that was absolutely not written in the original book? The novel only recorded that this massive simp of an original owner led a group of Seraphina's loyal friends to passionately confront the Dragon King and Briar right after Seraphina's tragic death. Thinking of this insane twist, Caelan quickly scrambles to log right into the original owner's top-secret burner account. As soon as he logs in, he is completely stunned by a massive, dense wall of unread messages, and yep, the very first one is from Elara. He clicks into the chat, then immediately backs the heck out. Way too spicy for daytime. After hesitating for a second, Caelan awkwardly shoots back a flat reply to Elara. Received. Scrolling down further, Caelan actually finds Secretary Kaelia's private account too. Kaelia did not send any spicy photos directly, but man, her social feed moments are undeniably alluring. Scrolling even deeper, there are literally dozens of female friends on this list. And wild enough, most of them casually message the original owner every few days. Caelan cannot help but let out a heavy sigh. Well, damn. I guess I just inherited a massive, unexpected fortune of a completely different kind. After shamelessly clicking through every single profile one by one, Caelan confidently snaps and posts a quick selfie on his own feed. Dear original Caelan, he thinks, you were willing to stay a pure, loyal simp for Seraphina, but I am absolutely not. Once I finalize this divorce, I am going to let loose and go completely wild. Switching smoothly back to his main account, Caelan drives straight to a local tech store first. He buys a sleek second phone and securely transfers the burner SIM card and secret account right over to it. With his secrets locked down, he finally drives over to the massive factory, originally founded by this body's previous owner. The facility is absolutely huge, easily valued at over $1 billion. It primarily focuses on advanced chip processing and cutting-edge tech research, taking on various small but steady orders. Staring up at this massive industrial powerhouse, a really weird thought pops into Caelan's mind. Why the hell did Seraphina always claim the original owner had zero ambition? Is she completely blind to this billion-dollar factory right in front of her? No matter how you slice it, building this empire is definitely not a lack of ambition. Shaking his head, Caelan throws the useless thought away and gets down to business, analyzing the factory's future. The microchip industry is highly lucrative, with an unbelievably vast future ahead. Unfortunately, the baseline tech level in this alternate world is frustratingly similar to his previous life on Earth. The domestic chip industry here is severely lagging behind. Too bad I did not major in microchip engineering in my past life, he mutters to himself. But suddenly, like a flash of pure genius, a massive golden light bulb goes off in Caelan's head. He suddenly remembers Draven, the infamous Dragon King who married Briar. That guy was the real mastermind plotting against the Yi family, and he once had his sights set on this exact same chip company. Draven blew an absolute fortune trying to recruit a legendary chip expert. But hilariously enough, he failed miserably just because the expert couldn't stand his arrogant working style. After that, Draven ditched the tech route entirely and tried to snipe Caelan through dirty back channels. Stroking his chin, a knowing smirk spreads across Caelan's face. Wait, I remember now, he thinks. That expert is from the powerful Lin family in the capital. He only came down to Sapphire City searching for his kidnapped daughter. So, if I can just find his daughter before anyone else does, I'll win his absolute loyalty and score a massive connection with the capital's elite. Caelan finally has a solid plan, but right before he can put it into motion, his phone starts buzzing. The caller ID flashes. Grandpa Tiberius. Why the hell is this old geezer calling me? He mutters. Tiberius is Seraphina's incredibly stubborn grandfather. The old man completely despises Caelan. Honestly, he hates Seraphina too, purely because he is a fiercely toxic patriarch. Even so, Caelan swipes to answer. Tell that wretched girl, Seraphina, she must return to the old manor for dinner tonight. I have a major announcement to make. Caelan just gives a flat grunt. He replies dismissively. Flipping through the memories of the original novel, Caelan draws a complete blank. There was never any mention of a dinner at the old manor. Whatever, who cares, he figures. But hey, maybe I can use this dinner to finally shake Seraphina off my back. The old man might be completely sexist, but he still transferred all the shares to her. She'll definitely have to listen to whatever he says. A while later, Caelan lounges in the sleek lobby of the Vanguard group. Sipping some hot tea brought over by a nervous young clerk, he dives deep into the company's twisted history. The Vanguard Group is a massive, century-old conglomerate. Ironically, it originally belonged to Seraphina's grandmother's side of the family, back when it was just a wealthy merchant guild. But as her grandmother's relatives slowly died off, that greedy old man Tiberius snatched it up, renamed it, and claimed it for himself. Over the past 40 years, the company has barely survived a brutal string of financial storms. According to the company veterans, Vanguard had been bleeding out ever since Tiberius plastered his name on it. By the time Seraphina's father, Orion, took the reins 20 years ago, it was already turning to dust. Luckily, Orion married way out of his league. Madame Yijin brought her own booming startup into the marriage and single-handedly pulled Vanguard from the grave. For 20 whole years, everyone thought they had a perfectly loving fairy tale marriage. Under Yizhen's brilliant 20-year reign, Vanguard hit its absolute peak. She evolved it from a basic local business into a national mega-corporation. But after Yizhen tragically passed away, Orion took control once more. It coasted on her momentum for 2 years before nosediving straight back into the gutter. Just 2.5 years ago, it was teetering on the edge of total bankruptcy until Seraphina stepped up and bailed them out. Because of this, there's a vicious running joke in Sapphire City. The Yi men are entirely useless, and the Yi women are terminal romantics, total love, brains who ruin their lives saving them. Caelan shudders, remembering the book's tragic original plot. Seraphina's grandmother dumped her entire family fortune into her marriage, only to suddenly die of a cerebral hemorrhage. Everyone knew that with early treatment, it was perfectly survivable, especially for a filthy rich family with a private, live-in doctor. Then there was Seraphina's mother, Yizin. She worked herself to the absolute bone for Orion, only to be brutally murdered in a staged car crash, orchestrated by Orion himself. The fragile coward just couldn't handle being called useless anymore. And finally, Seraphina, madly in love with Alaric, she was ultimately framed and tossed into prison by the very men she trusted, Alaric and her own father. 3 generations of Yi women. All absolute love brains, Caelan scoffs internally. They literally tossed their hard-earned empires right into the trash. Just as she steps out of the executive elevator, Seraphina's unique ability picks up Caelan's brutal internal roast. Her face instantly turns as dark as a thundercloud. Elara, strutting right beside her, lets out an exasperated sigh. Sarah, if you hate Caelan so much, just dump the guy. Why do you look like you want to murder someone every single time you see him? Startled, Seraphina realizes her icy mask just slipped again. You're right, but I absolutely refuse to let some other woman spend my hard-earned money. Elara rolls her eyes hard internally. Oh, don't you worry, sweetie, she thinks to herself. If you divorce him, he'll only be spending my money, and honestly, I'd be absolutely thrilled. Spotting Elara next to Seraphina, Caelan flashes a charming smile and strides right over. Hey, that new car of yours is seriously nice. It rides super smooth, he casually mentions. Elara crosses her arms, pretending to be totally aloof. Well, you can always beg Sarah to buy you one. But inside, Elara is practically screaming with joy. Ah, Caelan actually talked to me first, she squeals in her mind. Watching Elara's little Ice Queen act, Caelan laughs out loud in his head. Wow, what a spectacular actress. Acting all cold and distant in public, but spamming my phone with spicy, borderline naked pics every single day. An incredible wave of sheer shock flashes through Seraphina's eyes. What? She screams internally. The homewrecker digging at my foundation is my own best friend? Seraphina's vision literally goes black. Her knees buckle, and she nearly hits the marble floor. Moving on pure instinct, Caelan catches her waist, swiftly pulls a piece of sweet candy from his pocket, and pops it right into her mouth. The ridiculously smooth, habitual action completely startles Caelan himself. It was a lingering reflex left behind by his body's original owner. Elara, desperately holding up Seraphina's other arm, stares at him with burning envy. God, he is so amazing, she thinks. A man who takes perfect care of you at a moment's notice. Finally snapping out of it, Seraphina viciously shoves Caelan away, glaring at him with pure, murderous intent. You filthy, cheating scumbag, she seethes internally. Then, she slowly turns her gaze to Elara, who is still affectionately clinging to her arm. A flash of absolute heartbreak and disappointment crosses her eyes. But in the end, she swallows her pride and just lets out a heavy, defeated sigh. Caelan is left totally bewildered. Seriously, what the hell is her problem, he wonders. Seraphina is acting completely psycho. She clearly despises me, yet she keeps dragging her feet on this damn divorce. Should I just offer to walk away with 0 assets? Hearing this, Seraphina's face turns even darker than before. She fiercely chokes down the angry questions. She was just about to scream at Elara. Fine, I'm not asking anything anymore, she vows to herself. I'm just going to drag out this miserable marriage forever. I will never, ever let your sick little romance see the light of day. I'll piss you both off so much, you'll choke on it. With that wickedly petty thought, Seraphina yanks Elara right over to Caelan and plants a soft, deliberate kiss on his lips. Babe, I am so sorry about earlier, she coos. I was just super stressed out. Come on, let's head back to the old manor right now. Seraphina doesn't miss that quick, bitter flash of disappointment in Elara's eyes. Oh, just you wait, my dearest bestie, she thinks. Right then, the pure, unfiltered wickedness in Seraphina's bones starts spreading like wildfire. Her mind instantly races with a dozen delightfully cruel ways to completely torture Elara. Meanwhile, Caelan is standing there looking completely shell-shocked. Has Seraphina completely lost her damn mind? Why the hell did she just kiss me? Elara, fighting back a sickening wave of heartbreak, chokes out a quick see you later to Seraphina and bolts. Staring at Elora's lonely, retreating figure, Caelan is literally screaming on the inside. Ugh, Seraphina, you absolute psycho, he thinks. If it wasn't for you, Elara wouldn't have run off. Caelan is absolutely miserable right now, which, ironically, makes Seraphina unbelievably happy. Snatching Caelan's hand, she marches him right out the door. Come on, honey, let's grab a ride back to the old manor for a nice dinner. You see, Seraphina has never, ever been the forgiving, bigger person type. Ever since Alaric walked out on her 2.5 years ago, she absolutely refuses to tolerate even an ounce of betrayal. Not from her simp of a husband, and definitely not from her backstabbing best friend. Defeated, Elara drags herself all the way home. The second she walks in, Mother Shen immediately demands to know what's wrong, and more importantly, why her wildly handsome, charming son-in-law didn't come home with her. Elara spills everything, piece by broken piece. Mom, I think Seraphina actually figured out that I have feelings for Caelan. She literally kissed him right in public today. It has been 2.5 years. And this is the very first time they've had any real, intimate contact. Mother Shen, a total powerhouse in the corporate world, gazes at her daughter's puffy red eyes and says with ice-cold calm, honestly, you're probably right. But if that's the case, why don't you just lay all your cards on the table and tell Seraphina exactly where you stand? Elara stares at her own mother in absolute, jaw-dropping shock. Are you crazy? What on earth are you talking about? Leaning back on the plush sofa, Mother Shen doesn't even blink. Sweetheart, you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's just life. You have to make a hard choice between friendship and love unless, of course, Seraphina is miraculously willing to share Caelan with you. Elara lets out a heavy, defeated sigh. Yeah, I guess that's true. Mother Shen's eyes gleam, but I wouldn't say it's completely impossible. A sly, totally foxy smile slowly curls onto Mother Shen's lips as the gears turn in her calculating head. Elara snaps her head up. Wait. What exactly do you mean by that? Mother Shen puffs up with smug pride. I've been heavily analyzing the whole dynamic between Caelan and Seraphina, especially the pathetic image of Caelan that Seraphina projects to the world versus the man we actually see. I've noticed someone has been constantly brainwashing Seraphina, feeding her this totally fake narrative that Caelan is just some incompetent loser. The truth is, Mother Shen has mad respect for Caelan. 6.5 years ago, Caelan burst onto the scene looking like the ultimate, shameless simp for Seraphina. Literally everyone in their elite circle treated the guy like a total walking joke. But then he actually married Seraphina, single-handedly stabilized the collapsing stock market, and jumped right into the trenches to save her failing company. During that crazy era, Caelan traveled all over the country, personally inspecting Vanguard's branch offices, specifically zeroing in on their commercial plazas. He was the absolute genius who pitched the aggressive strategy of using fast-cash new businesses to financially feed and revive the dying old ones. Using those prime commercial plazas as a foundation, he launched a massive cinema chain and fearlessly brute-forced his way into the booming entertainment industry. And for killer PR? Caelan convinced Seraphina to funnel Vanguard's funds into a massive charity rescuing young girls in rural mountain regions, instantly buying them a god-tier public reputation. That brilliant, cutthroat strategy successfully dragged the dying Vanguard group right back from the grave. But right after that, nasty rumors started flying around Vanguard that Caelan was secretly plotting to swallow the entire family fortune, so Caelan just stepped down, leaving everyone completely shook. Right after stepping back, he casually established a high-tech chip factory. And ironically, that's exactly when Seraphina started pushing the ridiculous narrative that her husband had zero ambition. But Mother Shen? She never misses a trick. She knew for a stone-cold fact that his little chip factory was currently valued at over $1 billion. And his low-key private investments in other tech companies? Those were worth billions more. This was a fiercely capable, wildly charismatic alpha male, but honestly, what Mother Shen truly admired the most was his rock-solid integrity. Just a year and a half ago, at a high society banquet, some trashy, drunken thugs were aggressively trying to force a terrified young girl to dance on the tables. Caelan didn't even hesitate. He stepped right up, completely crushed the situation, and protected her. Around that same time, he also pulled the powerful Feng family back from the brink of total bankruptcy. The grateful Feng patriarch literally tried to hand over his beautiful daughter to Caelan as a gift, but Caelan shut it down instantly, stating coldly that their relationship was strictly business. And just 6 months ago, when Mother Shen herself got way too drunk during an intense business negotiation, it was Caelan, who just happened to be passing by, that scooped her up and brought her home safe and sound. Now, Mother Shen wasn't trying to brag or anything, but with her killer figure, flawless face, and commanding aura, powerful men were constantly throwing themselves at her feet. Yet Caelan respectfully took care of her for half the night without crossing a single line or even looking at her funny. Just thinking back to him standing in her kitchen, quietly brewing her hangover soup, it made Mother Shen want to scream at the top of her lungs, "Seraphina, you blind fool. You are eating a literal 5-star Michelin meal every single day. And yet, this absolute god of a man is nothing but a useless, pathetic scrub in your eyes." Mother Shen was 100% convinced that Seraphina was being deliberately blinded to the truth. The toxic people around Seraphina had completely isolated her from seeing Caelan's true, undeniable worth. Because let's be real, Seraphina wasn't stupid. Anyone with the brains to revive a titan like Vanguard knew talent when they saw it. Well, there was one other crazy possibility. Maybe Seraphina secretly knew his true value and aggressively spread those rumors herself, just to make sure no other woman would ever try to steal him. But honestly, Mother Shen heavily leaned toward the first theory. Seraphina was just being played. With that in mind, Mother Shen leaned in and told Elara in a soft, dangerous voice, "Go confess everything to Seraphina. Tell her right to her face that Caelan's secret company is worth billions of dollars. Your endgame here isn't to forcefully rip Caelan away and monopolize him. It's to join their relationship." Elara sat there, utterly dumbfounded. "Mom, are you seriously telling your own flesh-and-blood daughter to actively offer herself up as a third wheel?" Mother Shen just let out a dark, ruthless sneer. "Honey, the only way you'll ever pry him away for good is by getting intimately close first." But even with that villainous advice, Elara still hesitated, torn by her own desires. "Is that even possible? Would Seraphina actually agree to this?" Mother Shen replied with ice-cold certainty. "Oh, she absolutely will. She just found out her own father is a cheating scumbag. Right now, she's paranoid about everyone and everything. Just go do it." Cut to the road to the old manor. Caelan is stuck driving Seraphina's G-Wagon, completely annoyed. She literally has a chauffeur. "Why the hell is she making me drive?" In the passenger seat, Seraphina's mood is absolute garbage. Her husband wants a divorce. Her ride-or-die best friend of 22 years is trying to steal her man. Her biological dad is a massive cheater. Her childhood sweetheart is secretly plotting against her, and some random illegitimate sister is lurking in the shadows, watching her every move. But the absolute cherry on top? There is a literal future supervillain named Dragon King coming straight for her head. Seraphina feels like the entire universe is out to get her. Ding! Frustrated, she snatches up her phone. It's a text from Elara. "Sarah, I really like Caelan. I honestly hope you can just let me join you guys." Seraphina lets out a dark, furious laugh. "Wow. So we're just straight up asking to join the marriage now?" Elara texts back quickly, "Sarah, please don't be mad. Just let me tell you one thing. Caelan's chip factory is worth over $1 billion. Did you even know that?" Seraphina instantly swallows her rage. She drops her phone, slowly turns to Caelan and asks, word by word, "How much is your company worth?" Caelan gives her the weirdest look. "You are acting so bizarre. You're shocked you don't know my net worth?" He thinks to himself, "Wait, is this crazy woman testing me right now?" Figuring that must be it, Caelan replies casually, "I guess it's a little over $1 billion. I also personally invested in a few classmates' businesses, a paint factory, a steel cable plant, and some media company. Add up those random shares, and it's probably another billion or so. Oh, and I also hold some shares in the Fang family's corporation. If you want a divorce and want to split the assets, you can just calculate all of that in." "I just want a divorce?" A boiling surge of blood rushes straight to Seraphina's head. She whips out her phone and shoots a text to her secretary, Kaelia, and Elara, the young CEO of the Fang family. "Do you have feelings for Caelan?" Secretary Kaelia, who just got home, hesitates for a second but replies, "Yes, boss. I do like Mr. Caelan. If you feel that's inappropriate, I can hand in my resignation right now, but I am going to pursue him openly. I really hope you can give us your blessing, since you don't even like him anyway." Meanwhile, Lyra texts back, "Sarah, you have got to be joking. Why on earth would I like a petty, basic guy like Caelan? I only fall for men like Alaric, guys who can toss around $100 million projects with a wave of their hand." But over at the Fang Group headquarters, Lyra puts down her phone, completely stressed out. Does that toxic woman Seraphina know something? When the hell is she finally going to divorce Caelan? Back in the car, Seraphina lets out a silent, bitter sneer. Judging by how Kaelia constantly brainwashed her, that Caelan lacked ambition, and how Elara always trashed him for being petty and unmanly. They were all lying to her face. It was all a massive setup to make sure she hated her own husband. Seraphina can't help but scream internally. Just great. This is just fantastic. I have literally been living in a massive Truman Show this whole time. Shooting Caelan a deep, lingering look, she mutters in her head. So what? He just has an incredible body, a handsome face. He's super gentle, cooks like a master chef, spoils his wife rotten, puts up with all my tantrums, and is super responsible. Why do so many girls want him? Sighing, Seraphina replies to Lira's text. Sorry, I was just messing around. Let's grab dinner sometime soon. Then she texts Kaelia. There is no need to resign. Honestly, as long as you never betray me, I can share Caelan with you. Finally, she texts Elara. Okay, fine. But we have to form a defensive alliance right now to ward off all the other little homewreckers out there. Elara instantly replies, deal. Back at the Shen estate, Mother Shen smiles a wicked smile. Everything is falling perfectly into place. Seraphina puts down her phone, a sharp, golden glint flashing in her eyes, looking at this from a completely different angle. As long as she proves she's the absolute best, she can take Caelan's entire hidden harem of female friends and turn them into her own loyal allies, totally leveling up her own power. As a sharp businesswoman, you always have to weigh the pros and cons. After giving herself that little pep talk, her fiery gaze sweeps right back over to Caelan. She suddenly remembers. Caelan is still totally untouched. Wait a minute, he has all these thirsty female friends around him. She really needs to test him right now. Clearing her throat, she asks, Caelan, we have been married for 2.5 years, and I've never actually asked you this. How many times have you dated before? Caelan looks at her with deep suspicion, instantly feeling annoyed. You are my first love. He thinks to himself, is this woman sick in the head? Why is she asking me this out of nowhere? Honestly, just thinking about it pisses me off. I have dozens of gorgeous female friends, and I've kept my innocent streak alive for a wife who won't even let me touch her. I must be losing my mind. I really need to find a chance to lose my V-card soon. Otherwise, if I die tomorrow, it'll be a massive, tragic loss. Seraphina's eyes light up, her mood instantly soaring to the clouds. Sure enough, Caelan really does still love me. Good, then I am not holding back anymore. Suddenly, Caelan feels a random, icy chill in his chest, like he's just been locked onto by a starving wild beast. The G-Wagon finally rolls into the Ye family's old manor. It's a massive suburban estate covering 500 acres of land, passed down straight from Seraphina's grandmother's side of the family. Grandpa Tiberius and Orion both live out here. The security guards open the giant iron gates from afar. Caelan drives completely unimpeded right up to the main courtyard entrance. The second the car stops, a sharp-dressed butler pulls open the door. Welcome home, young miss, and son-in-law. Looking at the super polite young butler and the army of bustling maids, Caelan immediately starts complaining in his head. So incredibly extravagant, from the security team, to the butlers, to the maids, and that is not even counting the insane daily maintenance costs. No wonder I absolutely hate living here. Honestly, if I could, I'd donate this entire place to a museum just to score some development projects. It feels like this damn house has a personal vendetta against me, Seraphina mutters, her voice dripping with pure disgust. The butler stays dead silent, just leading the way through the manor's overly classical, stiff garden architecture. He guides them straight to the main hall. But right before they even step foot inside, the loud sound of laughter echoes out. Looking up, Seraphina's face instantly drops into a freezing glare. Caelan, on the other hand, just smirks. He already knows exactly who is waiting inside. There is Grandpa Tiberius, dressed in a traditional Tang suit, desperately trying to play the cultured scholar. Then there's Orient, playing the refined merchant. And of course, Alaric's entire family. You've got Grandpa Tiberius's sister-in-law, second madam, sitting with her grandson, plus some unknown beauty holding a child. Oh, wait, isn't that Seraphina's useless cousin, Silas? Yeah. That weak-looking coward who literally handed his own wife over to the Dragon King the second he realized he couldn't take over the Ye family? And that young sugar baby sitting right next to him. Is that his wife? Wait, no, that makes total sense. That young woman is actually Grandpa Tiberius's secret little mistress. Seraphina is completely shell-shocked. Is our family seriously this messed up? And what the hell is going on lately? This normally quiet family is suddenly showing their greedy ambition. Seeing the two of them arrive, the people inside start to stand up. But Grandpa Tiberius, acting like a leftover relic from the feudal era, just snorts coldly and waves his hand, gesturing for everyone to sit back down. He glares at them, utterly dissatisfied. So, you're finally here. What? Were you waiting for a royal invitation to walk in? Absolutely no manners. Caelan just mentally rolls his eyes. We literally just got here, and you're already acting like some ancient overlord. Welcome to the modern era, old man. Suddenly, Seraphina bursts into a sharp laugh. Damn, well roasted. That laugh absolutely infuriates Grandpa Tiberius. As a junior and a woman, you see your elders and your fiancé, yet you don't even bow or serve us tea? Instead, you just laugh. Caelan rolls his eyes again, thinking, wow, does this geezer think we're living in the Qing dynasty? Serve tea? Don't you guys literally have servants? But then, remembering he actually needs this old man's help to finally score a divorce, Caelan decides to just swallow his pride and endure it. So he plays along, nodding gently. Grandpa's right, but internally, Caelan is sweating bullets. In the original book, Seraphina gets framed and tossed into jail right after the plot kicks off, completely cutting ties with this toxic family. The novel never really mentioned if they had a good relationship. I can only pray Seraphina has a tiny bit of affection for me since I handed over all my shares to her. Seraphina shoots Caelan a sideways glance. How on earth do you curse people out so viciously in your head, while looking like such an obedient little puppy on the outside? Yeah, I definitely can't pull that off. Without hesitation, she grabs Caelan's hand, struts right into the center of the living room, and plops down on the sofa, right in front of everyone's dumbstruck faces. She speaks slowly, dripping with sarcasm. First of all, I've been married for nearly 3 years. So tell me, where exactly is this fiancé you speak of? And second, for a woman to serve tea to her elders, there actually have to be elders present. But in this family, she trails off with a cold, mocking scoff, making her stance crystal clear. Grandpa Tiberius visibly trembles with sheer rage. Caelan mentally sighs, "Welp, so much for relying on the old man." Sitting right across from them, Alaric stands up and speaks in this sickeningly gentle tone. "Sarah, aren't Grandpa Yi and Uncle Yi your elders? And am I not your fiancé?" Second Madam's entire family practically shrinks into the corner. Silas even frantically pulls that young sugar baby to hide behind Second Madam. Seraphina acts as if she just now noticed Alaric was even breathing. "Oh wow, isn't this my ex-fiancé? The same guy who tucked his tail and fled the country the second the Yi family faced a financial crisis? So why exactly are you back? Trying to leech off the Yi family now that we've fully recovered? Absolutely savage. I'm literally giving her a mental thumbs up right now. She is so freaking amazing," Caelan thinks to himself. The Sterling family's faces instantly turn pitch black with embarrassment. Seraphina then turns her icy gaze to Grandpa Tiberius and Orient. "And as for my elders, aren't these the same grandfather who keeps a secret young mistress, and the father who cheated on his wife while she was pregnant? People who entirely lack basic morals are completely unworthy of being called my elders." Now, the Yi elders' faces are pitch black, too. Watching Seraphina just go full scorched earth on the entire room, Caelan genuinely has to praise her. Damn, she is so freaking cool. "There are absolutely no elders here for me to respect," Seraphina states, her murderous gaze sweeping across the trembling room. That dominant, heavy aura of a corporate tyrant, the woman who dragged a dying $100 billion corporation back to life, makes everyone instantly realize something. She is not some sheltered little heiress they can bully with a scolding. She is a ruthless, bloodthirsty corporate overlord. Her father jumps up, furiously barking at her. A child does not speak of a father's faults. Your entire education clearly went straight to the dogs. His eyes are bloodshot, looking like he's ready to kill her right then and there. Caelan just watches in pure amusement. Man, their mental fortitude is straight up garbage. Just look at Seraphina. She found out her dad cheated and her childhood friend plotted to ruin her, and she didn't even flinch once. Seraphina is completely speechless at his thoughts. "Are you praising me or insulting me right now?" Second Madam suddenly chimes in, perfectly breaking the tension. "Sarah, what absolute nonsense are you spouting? How on earth could your grandpa keep a mistress? And how could your father possibly have an illegitimate daughter? Yes, the Sterling family made a mistake back then, but they came all this way to apologize." Second Madam then shoots a totally disdainful glare right at Caelan. Sarah, Caelan has been leeching off the Yi family for 2.5 years and achieved absolutely nothing. He is simply not a good match for you. Just look at Alaric. Right after returning from abroad, he immediately secured multiple massive projects. To prove his sincerity, he just offered to give us that land in the North City at cost price. Aside from the resettlement project, once the demolition officially starts, our family can literally just kick back, relax, and count our endless piles of money. Caelan is thoroughly annoyed by this pathetic display. But with Second Madam finally breaking the ice, Alaric puts on that sickeningly gentle smile once again. Sarah. About Uncle. I was honestly just doing what's best for you. As an apology, I'll sell you the North City land slated for demolition right at cost. Alaric's mother also frowns. Sarah. Our family was dead wrong 2.5 years ago. We are admitting our fault right now. She glares dagger-like at Caelan. And as your auntie, I really don't want you wasting your precious time on a worthless piece of trash. Caelan's annoyance instantly peaks. Beside them, Grandpa Tiberius snorts heavily. Seraphina, I will forgive your nonsensical outburst from earlier. Think carefully about what you should do next. He glances disdainfully at Caelan. Absolute trash. Seraphina just sneers. But Caelan has finally reached his absolute limit. Damn it. I came here to use you guys to get a quick divorce, not to stand around getting bullied. Since Seraphina clearly doesn't give a damn about you people, why the hell should I hold back? Caelan confidently steps forward, gently pushing Seraphina to sit back down. He boldly scans the room, locking his sharp gaze onto Second Madam first. He drawls sarcastically, Second Madam, you are truly incredible. If I recall correctly, your son Silas was an 8-pound baby born in July, premature by 3 whole months, and he still weighed 8 pounds. If he actually went full term, the kid would be over 12 pounds. Seraphina bursts out laughing. Oh my God. So Uncle is an illegitimate child. Did my second grandpa just die of pure anger? She covers her mouth in exaggerated mock panic. Oops. Was I not supposed to say that out loud? She playfully tugs Caelan's sleeve, acting entirely nervous. Hubby, they won't hit me for that, right? Amazing? This exaggerated acting is absolutely Oscar-worthy, Caelan praises her internally. Quickly matching her dramatic energy, he says, Don't be scared, wifey. Hubby will protect you. Besides, seeing exactly how much Grandpa takes care of Uncle, maybe he's actually his own son. Grandpa Tiberius's face turns beet red as he fiercely roars, raising a trembling hand to strike. Caelan sneers coldly. Struck a nerve, huh? Seraphina also smiles with chilling coldness. This Yi family is truly filthy. Furious at being so bluntly called out, Grandpa Tiberius weakly slumps back down. Caelan pivots to Alaric's mother, tilting his head in amusement. Auntie, I might be trash, but I don't cheat. Completely unlike Uncle Sterling and CEO Alaric, who treat their massive media company like a personal brothel, Alaric's father jumps up, violently roaring, Total bullshit, you're spreading malicious rumors. He absolutely cannot afford to admit this. Caelan takes a dramatic step back, acting genuinely scared and covering his mouth. Oh, really? Then, I just have to ask. Since Sterling Media doesn't have any shady backdoor deals, how do those girls with 0 acting skills and 0 fame keep landing major lead roles? Seraphina perfectly times her entrance, smoothly walking right up to Caelan and tightly hugging his arm. Hubby, you just wouldn't know. The elder CEO Sterling's famous quote is literally, whoever I want to make famous, gets famous. And then the very next day, the company's entire casting couch scandal completely blew up. Naked photos, dirty secrets, vicious insults. Alaric's father desperately wants to throw hands. Alaric's mother looks ready to attack, too. Watching Caelan and Seraphina relentlessly tag-team them, Alaric finally realizes they didn't come here to negotiate at all. Taking a heavy, deep breath, he says in a low voice, Sarah, please stop this. I sincerely want to reconcile. Reconcile my ass, Caelan viciously curses internally. If you're so damn great, why didn't you stay and fight alongside her 2.5 years ago? Even though he harbors a lingering fear of the legendary Dragon King, Caelan still holds a strong, burning sense of justice. Seraphina openly sneers, sweeping the entire room with a freezing, cold stare. She spits right back at Alaric. Reconcile my ass. Don't you dare talk as if we were ever actually together. The sudden vulgar language instantly stuns the entire room into absolute silence. The head butler, just about to announce dinner, stands completely dumbfounded. The famous, flawlessly elegant female tycoon of Sapphire City is actually swearing? Is this really the aloof, villainous Seraphina everyone knows? Even Caelan is visibly shocked. Grandpa Tiberius, his face wildly flushed, points a violently trembling finger at Seraphina. Utterly disgraceful. Seraphina entirely ignores the old man, looking coldly straight at Alaric. My dear childhood friend, a highly successful young man like you, completely ignoring all the young and beautiful heiresses out there, relentlessly insisting on marrying a second-hand divorced woman like me. Are you sick in the head? A sudden flash of dark annoyance crosses Alaric's eyes, while his mother desperately forces a stiff smile. Sarah, I know you're angry, but this just proves Alaric truly loves you. Haha. Seraphina begins to laugh almost maniacally, a sharply mocking smirk twisting her lips. Loves me? Loves me so much that he fully knew my dad had an illegitimate daughter just months younger than me, and purposefully kept it a secret? Alaric visibly suppresses his rising anger, forcefully grinding out, Sarah, I just didn't want you to be upset. I was planning to handle her secretly, just for you. Seraphina tilts her head, coldly reaching out an open hand. Give me your phone. Everyone in the room is instantly confused. Alaric's mother nervously asks, Sarah, what exactly does this mean? Seraphina's eyes are pitch dark. Nothing at all. I just want to call Briar using your personal phone to ask her exactly how you were handling her. Seraphina's relentless, aggressive push leaves Alaric's family deeply humiliated. Alaric furiously clenches his fists. He genuinely didn't expect Seraphina to be so ruthlessly shameless and direct, utterly tossing out all the unspoken high society rules of the game. Seeing this utter disrespect, Alaric's father violently slams the table, standing up and roaring, You ye family go way too far. He jabs a furious finger at Seraphina. You wretched girl, if Alaric didn't love you, do you honestly think we'd want him to marry a shameless second-hand woman? Someone who constantly shows her face in public and has probably drank with countless men just to land business projects? This vicious insult is just way too heavy. Instantly, pure, chilling, murderous intent flashes violently in Seraphina's cold eyes. Caelan's face goes ice cold. You old dog. Don't push your luck. Before Seraphina can even get a word in, Caelan snatches a heavy fruit platter right off the table and just smashes it over Alaric's father's head. The sudden, brutal violence leaves the whole room absolutely stunned. Seraphina just stares in pure shock as Caelan casually rubs his wrist. Wow, hubby is so cool. Without missing a single beat, Caelan follows up with a vicious kick, sending the older man crashing to the floor, and plants his foot heavily right on his chest. Caelan glares down at him, his voice freezing cold. From the second we walked in here, you people have been running your mouths. Now you insult Sarah and my family? Tell me, who's the shameless one here? Gasping on the floor, the father roars in pure rage. I'll kill you. Alaric finally snaps out of his daze and lunges forward to help, but Seraphina instantly snatches up a jagged shard of the broken platter and points it straight at him. I dare any of you to move. Grandpa Tiberius and Orion start frantically screaming for the bodyguards. Watching the beefy guards rush in, Seraphina just sneers at them. I'm the one who pays your salaries. Whoever lays a single finger on us today, I guarantee you will never work in the security industry again. The bodyguards instantly freeze in their tracks, slowly and silently backing right out of the room. Hey, whoever signs the checks is the boss. Caelan glances at Seraphina, genuinely caught off guard. She's actually defending me? I mean, the original novel showed she wasn't completely clueless, but it never said she actually loved me. Whatever. Caelan presses his foot even harder onto the old man's chest and smirks. Come on, keep using that filthy mouth to insult my family. One more word, and I will cave your chest right in. Then I'll head straight to the police station, and you'll be heading to the ICU. Tomorrow's headline will read, Sterling family bullies innocent woman. Husband fights back, sends Sterling CEO to the hospital. Alaric's father violently chokes back his words. There is absolutely no way he can afford to be the laughingstock of that headline. Watching the absolute chaos unfold, Orion grits his teeth in frustration. What exactly are you two trying to pull? Seeing the opposition completely backed into a corner, Seraphina casually pulls Caelan back to their seats. She leans in and says slowly, I think I should be the one asking you. What was the real reason you called my husband and me back here? Speak. Alaric hastily helps his father up, takes a few deep breaths to swallow his burning rage. and forces his voice into the gentlest tone he can muster. Sarah, believe it or not, I truly love you, and I want to marry you. Seraphina just raises an eyebrow, practically dripping with sarcasm. An ex-fiancé who dumped me the second things got rough, and a would-be father-in-law who treats me like trash? And you really expect me to believe you love me enough to marry me? Caelan happily chimes in, and requires her to just toss aside a loyal husband who's willing to brave life and death for her. Seraphina shoots him a proud, approving look. Exactly. But Alaric, proving exactly why he was the mastermind who ruined Seraphina in the original story, swallows the relentless mockery and keeps that fake, gentle smile plastered on his face. That's why, to show my sincerity, Sarah, I'm willing to split the resettlement project 50-50 and even sell you the North City land entirely at cost. And if that's still not enough, I am fully prepared to open up all of the Sterling Group's resources to Vanguard. Seraphina impatiently waves him off. Look, I might be a romantic, but I am definitely not an idiot. That North City land can only be zoned for residential housing. Nationwide, we already have 5 times more housing than actual people. Are you seriously trying to sell that to me as a benefit? Alaric nods firmly. It is. You know my family has heavy connections at the top. The city is secretly planning to turn North City into an economic development zone. Those houses are going to absolutely skyrocket in value. Caelan glances sideways at Seraphina, laughing entirely to himself. Wow, this Alaric guy can really talk a massive game. Sure, North City was going to be developed, but there was a massive, cursed ancient tomb buried right under that land. Seraphina's eyes turned pitch black with realization. Wow, just trap after trap. Alaric really wants me completely ruined. But this time around, Seraphina doesn't explode in anger. Instead, she shoots Grandpa Tiberius and Orion a deeply meaningful look, before turning a brand new question on Alaric. So, if I do marry you, wouldn't the entire Vanguard group basically become my dowry? I do hold 57% of the shares, after all. Before Alaric can even open his mouth, Grandpa Tiberius eagerly jumps right in. Well, if you marry Alaric, those shares will naturally stay right here with us. They will be handed over to Silas. In fact, that's exactly why we brought you here today. I plan on passing the whole family business down to Silas. After all, you're a woman you have to marry out of the family eventually. Alaric tightly shuts his eyes in absolute, agonizing frustration. Grandpa Tiberius is a world-class idiot, he thinks. All of his so-called wisdom literally just went into leeching off women. Seraphina lets out a bone-chilling laugh. She stands tall, glares dead into the old man's eyes, and slams her hands hard on the table. Pass it to Silas? On what grounds? Grandpa Tiberius sticks his chin out stubbornly. Because Silas is the male heir of this family. Caelan rolls his eyes hard. Or is it because Silas is shooting blanks? And that baby his hot young trophy wife is holding is actually yours? Seraphina just sneers at the old man. Then why didn't you pass it to him 2.5 years ago? Don't you dare think I don't know exactly what you greedy old geezers were plotting back then. When Vanguard was on the verge of total collapse, you cowardly dumped all the worthless shares onto me. You stripped away every single valuable asset for your own cozy retirements, and left me completely alone to drown in the massive debt. And now? Now that Vanguard is pulling in massive profits again, you want to just kick me to the curb and hand my life's work over to your golden boy? Pure, lethal intent flashes wildly in her eyes. Keep dreaming, old man. As long as I am breathing, I will never surrender a single thing I've built. Hubby, we're leaving. Now, fully aware that this entire dinner was nothing but a pathetic, desperate trap, Seraphina turns on her heel and marches right out the door. Caelan stares down the old man and Orion with a gloating smirk. TSK. Seraphina went full villain way too early. You guys are so incredibly screwed. Caelan suddenly remembers the original plot of the book. Shortly after Seraphina got out of prison and fully embraced her villain era, these two geezers ended up dying in a mysterious car crash. He honestly thought they still shared some shred of family bond and wanted to use them to score an easy divorce. Man, what a massive disappointment. Right before stepping out the door, Seraphina shoots a sharp look back at Alaric, her voice dripping with absolute disdain. CEO Alaric, there is literally an ancient tomb sitting right under that North City land. How dare you try to pass that off to me? Alaric's pupils instantly dilate in sheer panic. It's totally over. From this day forward, he and Seraphina are officially sworn enemies. Caelan stands there, completely shocked. How on earth did she know that? A wicked smirk graces Seraphina's lips. Because I have you as my ultimate cheat code, darling. After the three of them finally leave, the main hall falls into a suffocating, awkward silence. The villains have honestly been tormented enough for one single night. Alaric turns his gaze to Grandpa Tiberius and lets out a heavy, defeated sigh. Grandpa, what the hell do we do now? Our original plan is completely ruined. Grandpa Tiberius just glances at Alaric, letting out a cold, mocking sneer. Don't you worry, boy. Wai Zhen was just as aggressive back in the day, and didn't she eventually end up coughing those shares right back to us? He speaks with the smug confidence of a veteran schemer. Orion chimes in with arrogant certainty. Alaric, seriously, do not panic. Our partnership isn't going anywhere. That brat Seraphina won't be an obstacle for long. Alaric nods slowly. Why is the living room such an absolute disaster area? Just then, a woman draped in a pristine white dress looking like a delicate, pure white lotus blooming right out of the mud gracefully walks in. The second he sees her, Alaric's eyes light up with desperate hope. Briar. Alaric's mother immediately rushes forward to welcome her absolute favorite. Even the hardened faces of Grandpa Tiberius and Orion soften up considerably. Silas, who had been practically invisible this entire time, respectfully leads the stunning young woman forward. Sister Briar. At this very moment, it looks exactly as if Briar is the true, legitimate daughter of the Ye family, stealing all the spotlight. Briar greets everyone with a sickeningly sweet, gentle tone. After getting caught up on the dramatic situation, she delicately takes a seat right beside Grandpa Tiberius. Grandpa. Father. My sister has just sacrificed way too much for this company. That is exactly why she's acting so agitated and refuses to let go. We really need to be understanding of her feelings. Grandpa Tiberius just snorts in utter disgust. Orion speaks up with total disdain. Briar, you are just way too kind for your own good. That wretched woman, Seraphina, is completely blinded by her own greed. She deserves absolutely zero sympathy. Grandpa Tiberius quickly adds, Briar, my dear, you just don't know the half of it. Seraphina was raised by Wai Zhen, a woman of pathetically low birth. Wai Zhen absolutely reeked of lower-class greed, and unsurprisingly, so does Seraphina. A sudden, sharp spike of anger flares deep inside Briar's heart. Why the hell are lower-class people automatically labeled as greedy by these rich snobs? Who even gave them the right to throw that label around? Meanwhile, the second madam flashes a warm smile and praises, Our Briar is truly the absolute best. She is so incredibly understanding of the bigger picture, always willing to yield everything to Silas right from the very start. Alaric's mother beams in agreement. Exactly. Plus, Briar is such a phenomenal cook. If she just marries Alaric, it's a massive win-win for both of our families. We get a sweet, family-oriented daughter-in-law, and you finally get back the shares that Seraphina shamelessly stole. Grandpa Tiberius takes a slow, deep breath, his gravelly voice suddenly turning ice-cold and downright murderous. Seraphina. She is far too full of herself. The Yi family gave her that miserable life, and trust me, the Yi family can easily take it right back. Briar just stands quietly off to the side, playing the innocent card. But she has already made up her damn mind. Once she gets exactly what she wants, she is staying far, far away from these absolute psychos. Neither the Ye family nor the Sterling family treats her like an actual human being, let alone real family. Meanwhile, outside the sprawling manor, Caelan and Seraphina are walking together, both wearing dangerously grim expressions. As they finally step out of the massive house, they quickly realize their car is nowhere to be seen out front. Even more importantly, the head butler and every single one of the estate's bodyguards have conveniently vanished into thin air. A 500-acre estate. Just how long is it going to take them to hike all the way to the parking lot? Listening to Caelan's endless stream of mental complaints, Seraphina just reaches out and silently takes his hand. Mommy, help. The toxic woman is actually touching me. I'm officially contaminated now. Hearing his thoughts, Seraphina purposely grips his hand even tighter. Surprisingly, Caelan doesn't try to shake her off. Maybe her hand is just too incredibly soft. Or maybe he just genuinely can't bring himself to do it. Slowly but surely, he stops resisting her hold. Standing there under the pale moonlight, the two stunningly attractive people look so utterly perfect that even the starry night sky feels like a mere, cheap backdrop. Gazing up at the moon, Seraphina can't help but think of the time Caelan viciously beat up Alaric's dad just to protect her. She thinks back to how they fought side by side, against all odds, to save Vanguard 2.5 years ago. She thinks of Caelan's meticulous, unwavering care over all these long, exhausting years. Caelan, I am so sorry. This totally sudden, heartfelt apology instantly puts Caelan on high alert. A toxic woman like her, apologizing? Nope, this is definitely a trap. I seriously need to watch my back here. His intense inner wariness deeply amuses Seraphina, bringing a soft smile to her face. She just continues speaking on her own. Caelan, after we finally crush these issues with the Yi family, let's go visit your hometown. I want to visit your parents. Her tone grows unusually soft and tender. Wait, a proactive peace offering? I knew it. I knew it was a trap. Woman, are you seriously trying to squeeze every last drop of value out of my poor family? Hearing his thoughts, Seraphina's face instantly darkens in annoyance. This dense man, Caelan, decides he needs to kill this terrible idea immediately. With absolute firmness, he says out loud, "No way." Seraphina frowns, a highly dangerous glint flashing in her sharp eyes. And exactly why not? If this man doesn't give her a perfectly valid reason right now, the Queen of Ice is going to be exceptionally angry. Refusing her peace offering just because your background isn't good enough? Seraphina is totally stunned by the thought echoing in his mind. Wait, what on earth does he mean by that? While frantically flipping through the original body owner's fragmented memories, Caelan complains internally. I'm really not lying to you, Seraphina. Your background honestly just isn't good enough to handle my family. To use some basic internet slang, my family has deep red heritage. My 110-year-old great-grandfather was literally one of the mighty founders of this entire nation. My grandfather was a legendary general in the military who fought on the bloodiest front lines of major wars and later marched northwest to secure oil for the nation, becoming the very first generation of oil workers. My family bled on the front lines for this country. We are a legacy forged in blood and pure grit. Meanwhile, you're just a petty merchant family packed with crooks and backstabbers. My great-grandfather wouldn't even bat an eye at you clowns. Caelan couldn't help but marvel, thinking the original owner's background was incredibly badass. Too bad in the original novel, he dropped dead way before he could even flex his family's massive influence. Eavesdropping on Caelan's inner thoughts, Seraphina is completely stunned. She had absolutely no idea about his past, though she honestly felt she couldn't be blamed. I mean, when Caelan first showed up at college, he spoke with a thick, muddy rural accent and dragged around a woven sack for his bedding. He looked like a total country bumpkin. His only real selling points back then were his lean, muscular physique, sun-kissed bronze skin, and this deep-seated, gentle confidence. Dropping the awkward topic of meeting the parents, the two of them slowly made their way down to the parking lot. Staring at the lone G-Wagon parked in the lot, a strange dark look flashed across Seraphina's eyes. Caelan, are you afraid of dying? Are you willing to walk straight through the gates of hell with me? Hell, no. Caelan shot her a weird look. What the heck are you talking about? We're literally just going for a drive. Why bring up the gates of hell? What? Are the brakes cut? Seraphina just nodded, calmly sliding right into the driver's seat. If you're scared, you can just wait here for Secretary Kaelia to pick you up. What the? You're seriously going to leave me here all alone? Woman, are you actively trying to get me killed? Caelan rolled his eyes, thinking she was absolutely wicked. He had literally just insulted the entire Yi family to their faces, and she wanted him to stay behind? Those monsters would tear him apart. Without a second thought, Caelan vaulted straight into the passenger seat. Seraphina was deeply moved. See? You can't just listen to the words people say, you have to watch what they actually do. Seeing Caelan decisively choose to ride with her into danger, Seraphina felt entirely overwhelmed with emotion. The moment the G-Wagon rolled out of the manor gates, the security guard stealthily fired off a text message. Back in the dining room, Grandpa Tiberius smirked at Orion and gave a slight, chilling nod. Orion glanced down at his phone and sent a deadly message of his own. Looking back up, he smiled amiably at Silas. Silas, when you finally join the Vanguard group, you had better work hard. Show everyone the true talent of the Yi men, and prove to the world we don't just rely on our wives. Grandpa Tiberius then turned his kind gaze toward Alaric. Alaric, our two families will be one very soon. You must treat Briar well and help Silas rise to the top. Briar's eyebrow twitched in annoyance. Grandpa, Father, Sister Seraphina flat out refuses to let Silas join the company. Isn't it way too early to be discussing this? Grandpa Tiberius chuckled darkly. Briar, how could that wretched little girl ever be a match for me? She can bark all she wants, but that's about it. Speeding on the road from the suburbs to the city, feeling the brakes gradually give out, Seraphina suddenly flashed back to the horrifying scene of her mother's car crash. The heavy rain, the slick highway, the shattered metal, and the cold corpses. Caelan, are you afraid of dying? Caelan shot her a sharp sideways glance. Terrified. Why would you say that out of nowhere while we're driving? Wait, did the brakes actually fail? Seraphina let out a dark chuckle. The brakes failed. Caelan's pupils dilated in pure panic. Are you freaking kidding me? Seraphina dying from brake failure wasn't supposed to happen until much later in the book. Why the heck is it happening right now? Seraphina just laughed even louder. Ah, so I die from brake failure in the original story, huh? As if on cue, a massive, heavy downpour began to hammer the windshield. Caelan gulped hard. Is the universe literally trying to kill me right now? Fine. You win, universe. But if I survive this, and I find out exactly who did this, I swear I will hack them to pieces. Caelan, I am so sorry. If we actually survive this, I will give you my most beautiful self. Feeling the car violently shudder while she made dramatic promises, Caelan yelled, Stop making promises and just focus on keeping us alive. Glancing through the rearview mirror, Seraphina kept her eyes locked on the heavy truck aggressively tailing them. Its massive tires were sinking deep into the muddy road. A wild excitement danced in her eyes. Idiots! Hiring absolute idiots to do your dirty work. Tailing me all the way out here just proves how guilty you are. Seraphina was incredibly glad she hadn't driven too fast. She was so glad the manor was out in the suburbs with open fields, lining the road. She was thrilled it was raining so heavily, turning those fields into a thick mud trap to slow their pursuers down. Spotting an old, parked tractor sitting out in the field, Seraphina aggressively aimed the wheel and crashed the car straight into it. The G-Wagon slammed to a brutal halt. The massive, bone-jarring impact instantly deployed the airbags, leaving both of them incredibly dizzy and disoriented. Fighting the darkness, Seraphina forced herself to pull out her phone, sent a rapid location pin to Secretary Kaelia, and then completely blacked out. Caelan's very last thought before his vision faded to black was, Man, I haven't even lost my V-card in this lifetime yet. Soon after, screaming police sirens pierced the rainy night. Secretary Kaelia arrived swiftly alongside the police and an ambulance, rushing the battered pair straight to the hospital. That very night, the shocking news completely exploded across social media. CEO Seraphina, the newly crowned top 10 conscientious entrepreneur, and her husband Caelan were both hospitalized after a horrific car crash. And the absolute kicker? The crash happened right after they left the Yi family manor. Internet sleuths instantly dug up the eerie records of her mother Yi Zhen's fatal crash. Combining that with the rumors that the Yi men were totally useless, plus the Vanguard Group's shady share distributions, wild conspiracy theories completely took over the internet. Were Grandpa Tiberius, Orion, and the Sterling family actually plotting a cold-blooded murder? The dramatic footage of the police dragging away the Yi family father and son, along with everyone else at the manor, became the #1 trending topic overnight. Flash. Paparazzi snap explosive photos of Alaric's family and Briar sneaking out of the manor. Instantly, wild rumors flood the web. Gossip accounts work overtime, riding the juicy conspiracy wave for pure clout, no paid PR needed. The next morning, Seraphina flutters her eyes open in a sterile hospital bed. The very first thing she sees? Kaelia and Elara, looking completely exhausted from staying up all night. A faint smile touches Seraphina's lips. Even if you guys totally want my man, you're still my absolute best friends. Just like that, Elara's tears evaporate into a laugh. Kaelia silently hands over a tablet. Watching the blazing headlines, especially the glorious footage of her own father and grandfather being dragged away in handcuffs, Seraphina bursts into laughter. She laughs, wild and unrestrained. My gamble paid off. Kaelia pushes up her glasses, snapping right back into serious business mode. Uncle Lee sent the vehicle inspection records straight to the cops. The truck driver is officially locked up. Turns out, the guy has cancer, with elderly parents and little kids to feed. Seraphina rolls her eyes internally. Seriously? How incredibly cliché. She speaks with slow, calculated precision. I have plenty of cash. Send a massive payout to his family. Desperados like him always keep a backup stash of evidence. Next step? Lock my grandfather and father in a cell and throw away the key. Leave me a spotless Yi family. Seraphina's lips curve into a chilling, ice-cold smirk. Ever since she was summoned to that dusty old manor yesterday, she had been stringing her master plan together. Dangling herself as live bait was a given. Only a rock-solid attempted murder charge could lock those snakes away for good. Why go this far? Because Seraphina always knew deep down, her mother's fatal crash was no accident. She lacked hard proof, sure, but gut-wrenching suspicion was all she needed to lay the groundwork. And the outcome? Absolutely perfect. They walked blindly right into her beautiful, deadly trap. Kaelia, leak the DNA test between Briar and my father, and dig into whatever twisted relationship is going on between my grandfather, the second madam, and that young MILF Silas brought along. Kaelia's eyes go wide with shock. Elara quickly chimes in, Sarah, your grandpa is practically ancient. He couldn't possibly have a young mistress, right? It's just too crazy to believe. Seraphina rolls her eyes hard. Oh, please. You're fully capable of falling for a guy like Caelan. Why can't a greedy old man like a pretty, young thing and manipulate his own son to steal Vanguard? Elara instantly zips her lips. Seraphina doesn't miss a beat. If everything goes exactly as I expect, buy off some major media outlets. Spin the narrative that the Sterling Group helped plan my murder, since they were conveniently lurking at the manor. And finally, draft some tragic sob stories. Paint Alaric and Briar as star-crossed lovers thwarted by evil elders. Say Alaric framed his ex-fiancée me just to hand Briar the Yi family throne. Then, release a glowing statement that I personally called the cops on my own flesh and blood, for justice. Tell them, upholding the law and refusing to shield criminals is my absolute duty as an upstanding citizen. Demand a ruthless, totally transparent investigation. Seraphina's stance is crystal clear: annihilate every single external threat. Rushing back to Vanguard Group, Kaelia immediately sets the brutal plan into motion. Meanwhile, Alaric practically coughs up blood, seeing headlines accusing him of a murder conspiracy. Sterling Group stock violently plummets. His phone explodes as furious shareholders flood his lines, screaming to know if he has completely lost his mind. Conversely, Seraphina's explosive new image as a righteous, untouchable boss queen makes Vanguard's stock skyrocket like it's on steroids. Never underestimate the fierce power of female rage. Thrilled Vanguard shareholders practically beg Seraphina to rest up. Behind the scenes, they gleefully use their own elite networks to make life a living hell for the Sterling family, Orion, and Grandpa Tiberius. Briar, however, remains frustratingly indifferent. Her little company isn't publicly traded, so she's skipping through the chaos without a care. Sweating under crushing public pressure, the police investigate Seraphina's crash with lightning speed. Cracking under Kaelia's massive financial bribes, the truck driver and the manor staff spill absolutely everything. Orion and Grandpa Tiberius are dragged straight to a jail cell. The chain of evidence is bulletproof, the attempted murder charge is locked in, and for the killing blow, Seraphina files to reopen the cold case of her mother's fatal car crash. Hearing this from behind bars, the two old men completely lose their minds. That old case? It carries a guaranteed death sentence. If they're convicted, they will never see the light of day again. Panicked and desperate, they beg to see Seraphina. Bandaged but unbothered, Seraphina struts into the visiting room. Listen up. I can let you off the hook, but on one condition. Every single asset under your names gets signed over to me. Write your wills. Right now. Faced with Seraphina's bone-chilling glare, the two broken men have absolutely no choice but to submit. They'd rather give up everything than rot in a concrete box forever. Snatching the signed papers, Seraphina nods with deep, wicked satisfaction. Right in front of their faces, she signs a sweet little letter of forgiveness, drops the request to reopen her mom's case, and lays the "We Are All Family" card on thick. She even fakes a sniffle, promising she can't bear to see her own blood suffer and will somehow get them out. As she leaves, the two men chuckle darkly. A woman is still just a woman, entirely too soft. Little do they know. In that very same cell block, the truck driver sits across from his weeping wife and parents. Son. Boss Seraphina is an absolute saint. She loaded $5 million onto each of our bank cards, bought 2 brand new houses for the kids, and even set up a massive education fund. Little Treasure is enrolled in a fancy, bilingual international kindergarten. And your dad and I? We got cushy cleaning jobs right at Vanguard headquarters. $10,000 a month. Our good days are finally here. Looking into his mother's joyful, tear-filled eyes, the truck driver fiercely clenches his fists in loyalty. 10 days later, Caelan and Seraphina are finally discharged from the hospital. "Come on, let's go," Seraphina says smoothly. "We've got a funeral to attend." Linking her arm through Caelan's, she smiles with dangerous sweetness. Caelan's face is completely sour. He just survived a literal brush with death, but looking at her, he can't even find it in him to be mad. Man, it's just annoying. She did warn him, though. She flat out asked if he was ready to walk straight through the gates of hell. He said no, but got dragged down anyway. Can't exactly blame anyone else now. "Whose funeral is this?" Caelan asks, totally lost. Seraphina just smiles, giving a slow nod. "My dad's, and my grandpa's," she says. Turns out, they couldn't agree on the final payout with that truck driver sitting in prison, so they got shanked. Caelan goes dead silent. "I'd bet my life you arranged that," he thinks. Later, at the actual funeral, Seraphina is crying an absolute river. Briar actually got an invite too, standing off to the side looking completely broken and lifeless. Right next to her are Alaric and Draven, the infamous Dragon King. Supporting Seraphina, Caelan takes a seat and shoots a glance at Draven. "So, that guy's the Dragon King? Gotta admit, way better looking than on TV." Hearing that, Seraphina peeks up at Draven. "That's the Dragon King? Honestly, he doesn't look all that tough. He definitely doesn't look like somebody who could kill me." The other guests offer Seraphina these polite, fake smiles, but they're staring at Briar and Alaric like they're a total joke. Everyone already knows the truth. Orion and Grandpa Tiberius left absolutely everything to Seraphina. Briar didn't get a single, solitary dime. And hey, do not underestimate this kind of inheritance. We're talking private assets, luxury villas, high-end cars, investments, stocks, and hedge funds, totaling up to $3 or $4 billion. Even for high society tycoons pulling in millions a minute, nobody is sneezing at billions in pure, liquid cash. Just the bank interest alone is pulling in thousands a day. That's a normal person's entire monthly salary, just sitting there. The crowd is whispering that Seraphina is absolutely ruthless, maybe even a little crazy, and that Briar's tactics were just way too weak. Right toward the end of the service, the second madam steps up, trying to demand a cut of the inheritance for Silas, that young MILF, and her kid. Seraphina calls her out right in front of everyone. "Second grandma, what exactly is Silas's legal relationship to my grandfather and my father? What connection do this woman and her child actually have to them? Point 1. You aren't even on the same household register. Point 2. You aren't direct blood relatives. And point 3. There is zero mention of you in the will. So, on what grounds are you demanding my assets? Just relying on the sheer thickness of your skin? Some random guest tries to play peacekeeper, telling Seraphina she should leave a little leeway and not take things too far. Instantly, Seraphina bursts into these loud, dramatic wails. Between heavy sobs, she cries, "I'm just a weak, defenseless girl. I just lost my father and my grandfather, and now this mob is trying to steal my inheritance. First, it was an illegitimate sister who's barely 2 months younger than me. Now it's my grandfather's supposedly illegitimate young uncle. Are you all trying to drive me to my grave? Do you have any idea how much payroll Vanguard has to cover every single month? Do you think my life is easy?" Her fake tears and fragile girl act make the so-called peacekeepers too incredibly embarrassed to say another word. Later, after the funeral wraps up, Seraphina drags Caden all the way out to a nasty, smelly ditch in the suburbs. "She's finally snapped," Caden complains internally. "I mean, who comes to a reeking drainage ditch for fun?" Completely ignoring him, Seraphina pops the trunk and pulls out 2 heavy boxes. "Look, I know you despise my trash dad and grandpa, so I'm giving you the chance to get some personal revenge." Caden is a lot of things, but he isn't stupid. Staring down at those boxes, he is utterly dumbfounded. Holy crap, are you being serious right now?" Seraphina's eyes curve into a wickedly amused smile. "It is exactly what you think it is. What we buried in those caskets today, just 2 cans of baby formula." Caden looks at the boxes, glances at the murky ditch, and without missing a beat, executes a flawless volley kick. "And that," he snaps, "is for hiring a guy to run me over." He looks at the second box, then takes a respectful step back, yielding the honor to Seraphina. Seraphina steps up and kicks it fiercely into the muck. "And that is for your toxic patriarchy." Watching the boxes bob in the filthy water, Seraphina mutters to herself, "Grandpa, Dad, I didn't just inherit my grandmother and mother's hopeless romantic brains. I also inherited your one and only good trait. Absolute, cold-blooded ruthlessness. On the drive back to the villa, Caden takes the wheel while Seraphina rides shotgun. The car is dead quiet. Neither of them says a word, but Seraphina quietly studies Caden's expression in the rearview mirror. She has no idea if he actually liked her little revenge gift, but honestly, it doesn't matter. She's got a second gift waiting for him tonight. First, it's to make up for his 2.5 years of taking care of her, and second, she genuinely wants to be with him now. While she was stuck in the hospital, she had Caden's background investigated all over again. Turns out, his family background is so incredibly stellar that the names of his elders are strictly classified. She only managed to dig them up through his old college emergency contact forms. He's rugged, undeniably handsome, and still ranks at the very top of his university's campus Adonis list. Plus, he's genuinely a gentle guy. Even when he wanted a divorce, he didn't pull any extreme stunts. He just tried to talk it out calmly. His professional capabilities? Completely off the charts. He built a billion-dollar tech empire with independent research and development in just 2.5 years. The guy's character is practically flawless. Over the years, countless women from wild, party girl heiresses to sweet girls next door to wealthy mature MILFs have tried to seduce him. He shut down every single one. When Seraphina found out about those little seduction attempts, she almost exploded with pure rage. These were the exact same women who sat around gossiping with her whenever she complained about Caelan, especially that famous, wealthy widow she thought was a close confidant who was secretly lusting after Caelan the entire time. It finally clicks for Seraphina. They were all fake, two-faced friends. Caelan is the only person in the world who truly treats her right, and the more she thinks about it, the more desperate she is to deliver that second gift to him as soon as humanly possible. If this little gift doesn't crush his stupid dreams of divorce, she'd just have to unleash the ultimate secret weapons her mother taught her back in the hospital. We're talking a tag team with Secretary Kaelia for that ultimate gorgeous CEO and spicy secretary office fantasy. Or maybe doubling up with Elara for an unbeatable bestie sisterhood combo. Hell, she'd even drag Mother Shen into the mix if she had to. Seraphina refused to believe her Caelan could survive that kind of temptation. Just picturing it made Seraphina's cheeks burn red. Catching her blush, Caelan groaned internally. Total psycho. Just sitting there blushing at absolutely nothing. Hearing his thoughts, Seraphina felt a flash of annoyance. Why am I blushing? Oh, you'll find out exactly why tonight, honey. Ignorant to her schemes, Caelan's mind drifted back to his own impending doom. Seraphina has gone full villain way too early, he panicked. That means her deadly clash with Draven, the Dragon King, is gonna happen way sooner, too. I gotta fast-track this divorce right now. But how? Hearing this, Seraphina ground her teeth together. Is my husband really that terrified of some loser named the Dragon King? No way. I won't accept it. Suddenly, Caelan's inner voice lit up. I've got it. Since I've got all these gorgeous girls in my phone contacts, if I just act like a total dirtbag playboy, Seraphina will drop me in a heartbeat. No woman stands for a cheater. Watch me. Seraphina sneered in her mind. Boy, you are way too naive. You clearly have no idea what a girl hopelessly in love is capable of. Just look at my mother. Did you really think she didn't know about Briar sneaking around? Oh, Seraphina was definitely going to teach her clueless husband a lesson tonight. Meanwhile, convinced he'd just unlocked the golden ticket to divorce, Caelan drove on happily, plotting out his beautiful, single future. The second we sign those papers, I'll fake selling the factory and pull the strings from the shadows. Then, I'll track down that capital city tech expert's missing daughter, and boom, I'll make an absolute fortune in the microchip industry. Seraphina blinked, totally confused. A fortune in microchips? As far as she knew, the domestic tech scene was a complete dead end, lagging miles behind foreign competition. Still, she mentally jotted it down. Wait, I remember that expert is crashing with the Hua family right here in Sapphire City. Caelan's thoughts continued. But the real nightmare is dealing with Draven. That guy will definitely try to crush my plans. How the hell do I intercept him first? Just thinking about Draven gave Caelan a massive migraine. Damn it all. Who would have ever thought that Draven, a literal billionaire heir swapped at birth by some crazy nanny, would stumble into a bunch of hidden masters out in the boondocks, learning literal Taoist magic, miracle medicine, antique appraisal, and somehow scoring a ridiculously overpowered Dragon King token? It's absolute garbage writing. But what's even crazier is my wife, the ultimate evil boss, Seraphina. Even though she was only supposed to be a mid-game villain, she came this close to actually murdering Draven. Spooked by his own thoughts, Caelan couldn't help but steal a glance at Seraphina, looking drop-dead gorgeous in her black morning dress. She is dangerously hot, though. Seraphina silently memorized every single piece of Draven's intel. This was going to be absolutely vital for their survival. It finally explained how Draven's sketchy medical tech startup got off the ground and where his endless cash came from. Dragon King Palace? Literally never heard of it. I wonder if his little gang can withstand the full force of the government's military machine? But the absolute best part? Hearing that Caelan actually believes she almost killed that so-called Dragon King. If I almost did it, that means it is entirely possible to finish the job. Meanwhile, Caelan sighed internally. Man, I just gotta see if I can play nice with Draven once the divorce goes through. Alright, current mission. Track down the tech expert's lost daughter. But what was her identifying item again? The damn author never even wrote it. He just said the hero bumped into her while eating cheap street food. A sudden romantic glance under the dim streetlights. Yeah, my foot. Caelan's good mood instantly deflated like a popped balloon, while Seraphina's lips curled into a wicked little smile. The car rolled on, and Caelan started feeling the heavy, awkward silence. Trying to mimic the body's original owner, he finally broke the ice. Sarah, the cops in Sapphire City are seriously fast, huh? They wrapped up that case in no time. The second the words left his mouth, Caelan instantly understood why the previous owner simped for years without ever getting to first base. With zero riz and garbage conversation skills like that, no girl would ever look my way. Beside him, Seraphina let out a disdainful little scoff. It is not because they are fast, darling. It is because of the heavy investments I have made over the past 2 years. She shot Caelan an intense, smoldering look, deciding it was time to boost her man's confidence. I cannot speak for other cities, but right here in Sapphire City, I am basically the queen of the underworld. Seeing her terrifyingly arrogant smirk, a famous TV mobster quote flashed through Caelan's panicked brain. I spent so much cash and fed so many people in Jinghai over the years, all for this exact moment. He freaked out. Holy crap, the novel never said my wife was in the literal mafia, Caelan screamed internally. Reading his mind, Seraphina's face immediately darkened. Who said I am in the mafia? I am an upstanding citizen. I pay my taxes on time, run corporate poverty charities, save at-risk youths, and donate heavily to the police force. Furious, she glared daggers at him, frustrated that she could not just scream her defense out loud. Soon, the car pulled up to the luxurious Holy Spirit Estate villa. Sticking to the original owner's simp routine, Caelan jumped out to open her door, gently guided her inside, and went back to park the car. After parking, he trudged up to the front door. Thud, he pulled the half-open door shut, took 2 massive breaths, and frantically prayed to the heavens. Pushing the door open once more, Caelan froze, staring wide-eyed at Seraphina. Bathed in the warm, dim lighting, she was lounging on the sofa, exuding this dangerously mesmerizing, vulnerable widow aura. Caelan's mouth twitched uncontrollably. Sarah, what on earth are you doing? Are you playing some kind of sick game with me? Do you even know what you are doing right now? On the outside, Seraphina kept up her fragile, pitiful act. But inside, she was laughing like an absolute maniac. Ha ha ha! Mother Shen's advice to binge-watch dozens of vulnerable widow movies back in the hospital definitely was not a waste of time. The critical hit is real. Perfect! This is my second little gift to Caelan, the whole tragic widow roleplay. Wiping away a perfectly timed fake tear, Seraphina murmurs weakly, My sister is gone. My grandpa is gone. My dad is gone. And now all these greedy relatives are trying to steal everything I own. What on earth should I do? Caelan can literally feel his adrenaline spiking. Under the warm glow of the lights, a gorgeous young woman in a sheer, black morning dress, showing off her flawless pale thighs, is looking up at him with those teary, pitiful eyes, begging for a savior. Girl, I cannot hold back anymore. Caelan screams in his head, even though his face remains totally frozen and stiff. Seraphina flashes a subtle, wicked smile, hiding it in a flash. She slowly walks up to him, conveniently trips, and tumbles right into his strong arms. Gazing up at him with puppy dog eyes, she whispers, Brother-in-law, can you please help me? I am willing to give you absolutely everything. I really am. Caelan is at his breaking point. Right now, he could not care less about her terrifying boss identity in the original plot. He doesn't give a damn about any looming Dragon King threat either. He just wants to go out like a happy man, totally lost in the sauce. At 9 p.m., the delivery guy rings the bell and drops off the groceries at the front door. Hearing the rumble of the motorcycle fade down the street, Caelan cracks the front door open just a tiny bit. With wild scratch marks completely covering his bare shoulders, he snatches the grocery bags inside and quickly kicks the door shut. He glances over at Seraphina laid out on the sofa, her modesty barely hidden by shredded fabric, just staring blankly up at the ceiling. Caelan lets out a cocky smirk. Ha, ha, my stamina is just as monstrous as ever. Ready to yield yet? This little girl really tried to seduce me. And now, you are facing the music. Seraph. I haven't lost yet, she mutters. Caelan just rolls his eyes. He grabs the first aid kit from their delivery bags, effortlessly scoops her up, and carries her upstairs. Honestly, he couldn't help himself. Ever since he transmigrated over half a month ago, the original owner's body had been totally starved, suppressed for over 20 years. Once those floodgates opened, his energy was absolutely boundless. Plus, growing up in the rugged oil fields meant his physical fitness was seriously top tier. Caught up in the sheer excitement, Seraphina, a total novice trying to play the vulnerable widow card, was completely overwhelmed by his stamina and ended up bruised. He carries the stubbornly pouting Seraphina straight into the bathroom, gently washes her himself, carefully applies the soothing ointment, and tucks her snugly into bed. I'll bring your food up in just a minute, he whispers gently, before heading downstairs to cook. They had gotten home at 6 p.m. What followed was a solid 2.5-hour intense cardio session. The second Caelan leaves the room, Seraphina forces herself out of bed. Every step brings a sharp, stinging reminder of his relentless energy. Absolute madness, she grumbles. Didn't people always say a virgin's first time is supposed to be quick? Why the heck did he turn into a relentless hurricane right after? Still catching her breath, Seraphina walks over to the closet, pulls it open, and stares at the row of sheer nightgowns hanging inside. A sudden memory flashes in her mind. My sister always says purple is incredibly alluring. Slipping into a sheer purple nightgown, she confidently twirls in front of the mirror. She slides open the bedside drawer and pulls out a bottle of massage essential oils, a blazing fire of determination igniting in her eyes. I, Seraphina, the brilliant CEO who resurrected the Vanguard Group and led it to massive prosperity over 2.5 years, will absolutely not accept defeat. Meanwhile, down in the dining room, Caelan hums a cheerful tune. He's expertly frying up thick beef and lamb chops, blending fresh fruit juice, and boiling a rich goji berry soup. Before he transmigrated, Caelan had read an unofficial history book claiming the ancient scholar Caelan couldn't survive a single day without meat or women. That guy supposedly ate 2 pounds of beef and lamb daily and enjoyed intimate moments twice a day, living all the way to 82 and taking a 15-year-old concubine at 65. A Taoist priest Caelan met later swore the scholar's legendary stamina came entirely from eating beef and lamb every single day. Right after finishing up 3 sizzling beef chops and 3 lamb chops, Caelan turns around and completely freezes. Seraphina, rocking that sheer purple nightgown, is sitting right on top of the dining table. Her pale, long legs dangle and swing playfully. Under the warm dining lights, the soft pale curves hidden beneath that sheer fabric are teasingly, dangerously visible. Hubby, do you want to eat the meat first, or me? Her gentle, seductive voice and the pale glow of her legs make Caelan gulp hard. But he forces the fire down, sets the heavy plates on the table, and sighs softly, Sarah, you're injured. You really need to rest. Seraphina slides right off the table, strutting toward him with a flawless catwalk. She gently traces the hard lines of his abs, leaning in to whisper playfully in his ear. My study materials say that a multi-pronged approach is king. So, don't you worry. Caelan swallows hard, his pulse racing as the tension thickens. Then let's just eat some meat and drink our soup first, he stammers. Seriously, dealing with this gorgeous succubus is pure, agonizing torture. Hearing him struggle, Seraphina just giggles softly. She picks up a glass of juice, swaying her hips with every step as she glides over to the dining table and pulls out a chair. Fighting back the raging fire inside him, Caelan forces himself to sit down. Oh no, hubby, she pouts teasingly. This chair is way too hard. Whatever should I do? Caelan sighs deeply. What do you think you should do? Her eyes sparkle mischievously. Sit right on your lap, obviously. Hearing Caelan's internal roar of frustration and seeing his desperate, forced restraint, Seraphina feels an overwhelming surge of pure joy. He loves me so much, she realizes. He's holding back because he doesn't want to hurt me. With a warm, tender smile. Seraphina finally sits down. That night, a ravenous Caelan devoured 2 beef chops, 2 lamb chops, and chugged down 3 whole glasses of juice. Meanwhile, Seraphina kept it light, eating just 1 beef chop, 1 lamb chop, and sipping on 1 single glass of milk. She playfully brushed off the juice, claiming she simply didn't like the taste. Fast forward to the very next morning, the moment his secretary, Kaelia, cautiously steps into the villa's expansive living room. Her face burns a bright, fiery red as she stares down at the shredded black morning dress and the completely torn purple silk nightgown tossed carelessly on the floor. Caelan, who finally manages to drag himself out of bed, stumbles downstairs. Seeing Kaelia, he instantly flushes. "Oh, man, sorry. Excuse the absolute mess. I'll clean it up right now." Kaelia just shakes her head, playing it completely cool. "Don't worry about it. I'll help you sweep, mop, and wipe down the tables." Caelan finishes up his chores in a flash and gets right to cooking breakfast, while Kaelia makes her way upstairs to the master bedroom. Pushing the door open, she walks right into a room that screams of last night's wild aftermath. Seraphina is just leaning casually against the headboard, scrolling on her phone. Spotting Kaelia, she smirks and pats the empty spot right next to her on the bed. Kaelia lets out a heavy, resentful sigh. "Man, if I knew I was walking into this kind of trap, I never would have shown up." Seeing the guy she is totally head over heels for getting intimate with another woman makes her blood boil, but weirdly enough, it also sends a rush of pure adrenaline through her that she just cannot fight. Seraphina flashes a serious smile. "Well, you had better get used to it." Kaelia is totally speechless. "Wait, what? What kind of crazy, twisted plot development is this?" Seraphina sets her phone aside and gently grabs Kaelia's hand. "I totally lost last night. Pack your bags and move in today. I already texted Elara to do the same." "Wait, what the heck is going on?" Kaelia's head is spinning. Is Boss Seraphina playing some kind of twisted mind game? "Boss, are you seriously testing my loyalty right now?" Seraphina's cheeks turn pink as she ducks her head shyly. "It is absolutely not a test. I genuinely want you and Elara to move in with us." Kaelia scrunches her eyebrows. "But why?" She is totally lost. Seraphina lets out this long, dramatic sigh. "Because I am just a terminal romantic." "Wait, huh?" Kaelia's brain practically flatlines in confusion. "What in the world does that have to do with anything?" "Because I am completely blinded by love. Because Caelan treats me so incredibly well. I just cannot stand the thought of him enduring the burning, agonizing pain of his own desires all by himself. I only want what is absolutely best for him." Seraphina used to think those ancient queens who threw away their entire empires for a single guy were completely unhinged. But now she gets it. She almost traded an entire kingdom for a man. Seraphina whispers to herself, a self-deprecating but totally unapologetic smirk creeping onto her lips. "I used to think those historical legends were complete idiots, but man, I totally understand them now." She locks eyes with her secretary, Kaelia, her gaze blazing with the ruthless, possessive ambition of a top-tier corporate shark. "But listen, I am a businesswoman, Kaelia. I do not just give away my empire. I expand it, and right now my empire fully includes Caelan. The only issue? His, reserves are way too massive for just one person to handle. I need reliable partners to secure this most precious asset." Kaelia's brain completely short-circuits. Did the ruthless, terrifying CEO of Vanguard Group really just talk about her husband's stamina like it was some massive corporate merger that needed a joint venture? But looking into Seraphina's dead serious eyes, and then thinking back to Caelan's sweet smile and that absolutely shredded physique currently cooking eggs downstairs, Kaelia pushes her glasses up the bridge of her nose. That hardcore professional secretary instinct kicks right into overdrive. "Understood, boss," Kaelia says, her face burning a bright cherry red, but her voice completely steady and all business. "I will handle the division of labor with absolute utmost efficiency." Meanwhile, downstairs, the doorbell suddenly rings. Caelan, rocking a pink apron over his dress shirt, swings the door open. He is instantly smacked in the face by a towering mountain of Louis Vuitton luggage, and standing right behind it is Elara. She is rocking a spicy, fiery, crimson dress and holding a massive bouquet of red roses. "Surprise! Sarah told me the guest bedroom was totally empty." Elara cheers, basically bulldozing her way right into the house. Caelan just stands there, completely frozen, clutching a frying spatula like a weapon. Inside his head, the panic alarms are absolutely screaming. What in the actual hell is happening right now? Why on earth is Elara moving in? And why did Kaelia just strut downstairs carrying her own overnight bag? Wait a minute, did I somehow transmigrate into a psychological survival horror game or some wacky harem anime? Gliding down the staircase, leaning just a bit on the banister but radiating pure, undeniable alpha energy, Seraphina practically hears his soul screaming and flashes him the sweetest smile imaginable. Hubby, Kaelia and Elara are going to be crashing with us for a little while. You know, just to help out around the house. It is a massive villa, after all. Help around the house? With what? My actual life force? No, wait a second. Seraphina is a massive neat freak. She must be planting spies to monitor my every move so I cannot secretly hide my assets before I finally file for divorce. What an absolutely vicious, scheming mastermind. Caelan's mind is racing 1,000,000 miles a minute. Seraphina's perfect smile twitches for a second, but she gracefully glides over to her seat at the dining table. Yeah, keep telling yourself that, my sweet, naive little idiot. You are going to figure out your true workload tonight. Over the next 3 months, the original plot of the Dragon King's pampered wife goes so violently off the rails that even the original author would not recognize this absolute circus. Caelan's master plan to secure a quick divorce and skip town shatters into 1,000,000 tiny pieces. Every single time he tries to bring up the legal paperwork, Seraphina expertly distracts him with a so-called joint venture team-building exercise involving Kaelia and Elara, or simply buries him under a mountain of corporate business proposals. But the most terrifying part of all? Caelan slowly realizes he does not actually want to run away anymore. The massive turning point happens when Caelan is frantically trying to track down the missing daughter of the capital's top microchip expert before his arch-nemesis, Draven, can get to her. He is literally pulling his hair out in his home office, totally frustrated because he lacks the shady underground connections needed to search the gritty slums of Sapphire City. Out of nowhere, Seraphina calmly strolls into the room and drops a massive, heavy dossier right onto his desk. Inside? A full DNA report, a candid photo of a young girl working at a sketchy street food stall, and a glowing jade pendant. I heard you tossing and turning in your sleep, muttering all about some missing girl from the Lin family. Seraphina had lied flawlessly, though her secret weapon was relying entirely on reading his inner thoughts. I had the underground syndicate sweep the city, she said smoothly. We found her. The Lin family patriarch is currently sobbing in our downstairs reception room, just waiting to thank you. Caelan stared at her in absolute shock. Holy crap, he thought. My wife is a literal, walking cheat code. Draven spent 60 chapters looking for this girl, and Seraphina found her in 3 days flat, all just to stop me from stressing out. By securing the Lin family's unbreakable loyalty, Caelan's chip factory unlocked massive state-level funding and groundbreaking technological advancements. In mere months, he completely monopolized the domestic 3-nanometer chip market. He wasn't just the Vanguard Group's simp husband anymore. He was a verified national tech titan. Meanwhile, Draven, the so-called Dragon King, was left absolutely starving for resources. With the Yi family's corrupt elders rotting in prison, Alaric drowning in a sea of public scandals, and Briar's beauty empire being mercilessly crushed by Seraphina's aggressive market expansion, the villains were pushed into a desperate corner. The final showdown didn't go down in some dusty warehouse or on a dramatic cliffside, but under the blinding lights of the Sapphire City Chamber of Commerce annual gala. Draven, wearing that signature, arrogant, crooked smirk of his, barged right into the banquet hall flanked by Briar and Alaric, triumphantly brandishing the legendary Dragon King token. He was fully prepared to call upon the hidden martial arts masters and elite financial tycoons of the city to completely bankrupt the Vanguard Group once and for all. Seraphina, yea, your reign ends tonight, Draven declared, his booming voice echoing through the dead-silent hall. The Dragon King commands the shadows of Sapphire City. Surrender your assets, and I just might spare you. The room held its breath. Sitting like royalty at the center table, Seraphina didn't even blink. She just elegantly sipped her red wine. To her left sat Elara, now a reigning superstar commanding massive media influence. To her right stood Kaelia, flawlessly coordinating Vanguard's hostile takeover of the Sterling Group on a tablet, and standing right behind Seraphina, with his hands casually resting on her shoulders, was Caelan. Look at this guy posing like an edgy anime protagonist. Caelan mocked internally. He doesn't even realize that I already bought out the absolute loyalty of 3 of his so-called hidden masters. And Seraphina literally owns the very land his secret base is built on. We are about to completely obliterate this man's whole career." Seraphina's lips curved into a breathtaking, incredibly dangerous smirk as she heard Caelan's confident thoughts. She reached up, gently resting her hand over his. She looked at Draven, her eyes ice-cold and mocking. "Dragon King? How quaint. In this city, I am the queen, and my husband." She glanced up at Caelan, her voice softening just enough for only their table to hear, "is the one who truly rules the queen." Caelan coughed, his ears instantly turning a bright shade of red. Damn it. She's so cool when she's threatening people, but why does she always have to make it sound so dirty? Suddenly, Vanguard security forces, now upgraded with state-of-the-art tech from Caelan's company, seamlessly surrounded Draven's entire entourage. Caelan looked out at the glittering lights of the banquet hall. He had transmigrated into this cursed novel, entirely destined to die as worthless cannon fodder. He had originally planned to take his money and run far away to the countryside. But looking at the fiercely loyal, slightly unhinged, and breathtakingly beautiful woman holding his hand, along with the two incredibly devoted women backing them up, Caelan realized something profound. Running away was for absolute cowards. Why run from the plot when you can just buy the whole damn book and rewrite it yourself? The war with the Dragon King was only just beginning, but as Caelan tightened his firm grip on Seraphina's hand, he knew one thing for absolute certain. The divorce was officially, permanently, and spectacularly cancelled.